because we spent quite a lot of time talking about Mitros, as it turns out. Right? That was message.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, about this lady Acastus who just would not stop being a problem. You know, she wanted to make Demas seem like a fool. Instead, Demas made her seem like a fool and sent her to live in retirement in a cozy home somewhere away from Mitros. So she could not really influence. She can live there. That's she's old. It won't be too long before. She's not going to make the next 10 years.
Demo's gonna make sure of that.
Yeah.
I mean, if we get to the 9, then clearly she's trying to sabotage me again. Gonna make me a liar.
Wow. Okay.
Demas doesn't have that much patience for old ladies, I don't think. Sort of.
They've had their time, is what you're saying?
Yeah, she did, and
You know?
her son was pretty bad, so maybe she just accepts now that the best thing she can do is to tacitly support him and then get out of the way. So that's pretty much what happened in Mitros. We visited the new cabin of the Dragonlords. Here with Demos 2 and Searcher 2.
Oh yeah, that's the thing. I don't know if you've seen Seraph, but like to the right of the Thylia map, which is to the north right of the Mitros map, is the Dragonlord's first manor.
Oh, very pretty. Look at that. Yeah.
With a little tower out here, I believe.
That's the fortress, the Dragonlord fortress that we have.
Nice.
And there we met some people. A new person who wanted to be a Dragonlord, in fact.
Yeah, but
Whose
not
name was-
not a Dragonlord. She wants to join the Dragonlords. Echo, yeah, but she doesn't want to be actually bond with a dragon, ever apparently.
She wants powerful friends who can help her when she gets into terrible situations.
Yeah.
Okay. So you have someone who wants to just hang out but not be a Dragonlord?
She wants to join the organization, but
So she wants to be around and be part of the organization, and her name is Echo.
Correct.
So
she's
that's Valis, right?
She's has asked about one of the dragons, but not one that we have encountered the name of. She wanted to speak to one of the 5. God, I'm trying to find where I
want to kill the dragon.
I don't know if she wants to kill him.
So she wants to keep an eye on you and the Dragonlords, doesn't want to be part of it, and is looking for one of the old dragons, and her name is Echo.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
She made
I fully believe that that's Valis, but I may be wrong.
I don't know. I wrote it down
She made it
somewhere.
seem like a personal. Yeah.
She made it sound.
I wasn't there. I'm just going off a description.
She made a good argument while we were there, basically. That was quite. I liked her. Seemed pretty nice.
Cool. Okay, Echo.
Can't find where we say it.
That's Amicia's decision. She's the Dragonlord.
Oh, she wanted to know about a dragon called Aristanor.
Yes, I think we said out that that's
the right, because there's only one of the 5 that no, not the 5, the
yeah,
they're sibling, right?
We sussed that their sibling that is the god Narcissus
Narcissus of beauty.
I mean Darius, assuming he eventually gets wind of this, will definitely recognize the name.
Right.
That was the dragon of I'm stalling to find my notes. Of Jacina Ventrak, who basically abandoned the whole effort before anything happened, and was therefore, along with her dragon, branded as a bit of a traitor and deserter.
Well, that tracks. Yeah, so
She's got some beef.
She became the
maybe.
forefathers to all people in that country.
Don't mind the babbling baby, but I mean, she seemed really cool. I kind of liked her, and she seems to want to help. But she's not into the whole bonding with a dragon, which is fine because I need people that aren't riding dragons to be parts of this organization. So it's fine. She might change her mind in the future, but
what is she like? What is her focus?
she's like a cool-ass ranger lady. She's a huntress. She's a
Cool.
Fuck, what was she? She was a oh god, I can't remember what they're called. The spirit, like not spirits, but like
She's a nymph.
Nymph. That's the word. Yeah, she's a nymph.
Well, if there's one thing the Dragonlords are not, it's subtle. So having a scout or someone to
We kind
go
of
ahead
just
is
rock up,
pretty.
don't we?
Yeah, so having someone who can be a bit more stealthy and scouting, that's
Specifically, she's a dryad.
A dryad, which are like famed hunters, like famed archers.
Yeah, I think
something like that.
she was.
Well, dryads in general. Give me a religion check.
I think we came to the conclusion that she was actually quite famous in her
In
field
her
of
own right, yeah.
of work.
so
yeah.
Giada has a pre-existing history.
I just have like a D20 on
Religion. Yeah, I was gonna say, oof.
5. Yeah, no.
Woof.
What is
all of
it
us?
really? I mean,
Yeah. Artemisia herself wouldn't really know what dryads are all about. Like the first image that would come to her mind would be like half tree people, but that's clearly not what she is exactly.
She's half tree person, clearly.
Ariad has studied monstrous people or whatever.
She studied tree people.
Oh yeah. Yeah. For Ariad could say that that's one kind of dryad that you could find, those that are really in tune with nature. But there's a whole range. They always have some sort of connection to forests and trees, obviously. But what that connection really is varies a lot, and a dryad being a hunter makes perfect sense.
I was gonna say that's like being in tune to nature, like noticing the smallest things. That would be incredibly useful as a hunter.
And
it's a spectre,
And as much as we don't I didn't trust Nephili to begin with, and she has become a keen advisor for for Artemisia, for being someone that seems to always be in her corner. And Nephili has she basically put her seal of approval, although there was a lot of curiosity behind that seal. But yeah, I somewhat trust her judgment as well.
That's good.
I was gonna say, yeah.
On one hand, that's really great that your grandma's supporting you. On another, it just sort of sounds like she's I just want to see what happens.
It was kind
What's
of like that, but it was
I,
also.
I think that is the two. I think.
It was like she was being supportive, but it was also I think it's a good idea. But also, I'm really interested where this goes.
Yeah. It's no matter what she wins,
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Did we do? God, it feels like it is so long ago.
It's been over
it's been a while, yeah.
Yeah, I'm okay. We went there, visited that. Oh yeah, we located. It was the old pirate island. Was that last time? And decided to try and rebuild it as a safe haven.
No, we we went to one of the islands we discussed, and it turned out that it wasn't the Kraken's lair. It was just because it was this place has it has a dangerous beast that kills everything.
Oh yes, it was a chimera.
And we showed up rocked up ready for a big fight, and it turned out to be just a chimera. So we were whatever.
Go chimera.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we whooped its ass.
It wasn't.
So it's one of the early islands.
It wasn't even combat. We just said we kill it, and that was it. But along the way, along the way to the island, we stumbled upon like a cross, or maybe it was this. Yeah, I think it might have actually been this. Whatever. There was an island that we decided it would be the crossroads, but they've been avoiding it because of the Chimera.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
we're
okay.
building like a hub.
Yeah.
So you cleared a supply
Carrying
line or
point.
Yeah.
a supply route. Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So we did
Yeah.
that, and we're gonna basically have like a tavern/inn grow there. That's like
nice.
sponsored by Ariad and Artemisia.
Yes.
Cool.
And apparently
we should hit that pirate island and steal their fleet because Deimos needs a fleet, right? And they have boats.
Yeah.
We just rock up with our dragons and just be like, "Your boats are ours."
Yeah, just take the Ultros crew and be like, all right, you're all captain of a new ship once we take them. Oh, I mean, they earned it.
Oh yeah, they and each of them are like probably higher level than every captain that was in the Mitros fleet ever.
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
each one of them. Sorry. Mel will be taking the baby in a minute, but he's hilarious.
Did more happen?
I think that was it because looking at the message I sent, which from that day, which I can pinpoint down to All Might punching Bakugo into orbit. That was it. That seemed to be it. It seemed like we finished the thing off with that.
That was about it. I think at that point we didn't want to go much longer because Seraph wasn't there.
Yeah.
Aw.
And that brings us to today. At this point, in the calendar that has its first day during the Battle of Mitros, we've progressed a bit. Like the first year is nearing its end, at least. You've certainly taken a lot of action very, very quickly, and that's fine. But Darius wasn't present in the cabin because he was off doing something else. Why don't you tell us about that?
Well, it depends on how much you let me get away with.
Well, not the result, but what he was attempting to do, because the result is still up in the air. Let's put it that way.
Gotcha. Well, the first thing he does, basically, I guess, once we find out it's a chimera, he's like, I'll catch up with you guys. This is not interesting to me. And then, all your cabin adventures and whatnot. So I guess he'd be gone for maybe a few days, which the first thing he would like to try to do before his shenanigans is I would like to see if I can get a hold of. I saw Vulcan use the knock spell, and I would like to learn that. So I don't know if it's a scroll I can buy in Mitros or something I can research in the library or leverage my fame or something like that.
Let's see. A knock is
It's a
fairly
second level
low-level spell. Second level spell. A scroll of second-level spells is an uncommon item. Yeah, at this point you can get those reasonably easily.
Cool. So I'll, first little bit is first day is probably spent like it's just sourcing that and scribing it into my spell book. And then after that, we see the scene where he tells Darathaxel his plan, but the audio cuts out, and we just see her reaction as her eyes like widen and maybe she scowls a little bit. I don't know. And then he takes out the cubic or the ruby gate, the hell gate, and I would like to press it.
All right, copy your token.
Okay. Done.
Going to make a new map available for you, so we have a bit of a backdrop. It is called Hades. So
right.
Darius has used the gem once before, has sort of surveyed the landscape and then gotten the hell out of there.
Mm-hmm.
He will find that he reappears at the exact same spot. It's a Badlands. I'm not sure if I've given the description for everyone, but it's basically, as far as the eye can see, it's a mixture of rolling hills of red, craggy, rocky ground, with the occasional tree-like structure that, upon further examination, is actually some sort of crystalline growth that, on occasion, spontaneously catches on fire, because that's how things are. The sky is an eternal reddish, grayish twilight, where you can maybe get the idea that there's light coming from a specific direction, but there's really not. It's a constant illumination. There's no real shadows. And it's not bright, not dark either. It's a strange in-between. The sky above is tumultuous, to say the least. Usually there's no clouds or anything, just this reddish fog covering everything in the distance. But on occasion you can see like almost localized sandstorms traveling across the sky, which are probably not quite pleasant to experience up close. And on more than one occasion, there's some reddish lightning that just suddenly materializes, usually strikes one of the trees, setting it aflame, and then dissipates. During his last visit, Darius didn't see any activity of anything, well, sentient nearby, really. There might have been creatures around, but you didn't really stick around long enough to find out. Probably a wise decision. Mm-hmm. And this time, it's sort of the same.
Sort of.
I say sort of, because after a few moments of perhaps orienting himself, which, by the way, is incredibly difficult because there's no sun to orient yourself with, there's a whispery voice that comes from somewhere nearby. Actually, does Darafaxel have blindside? I don't think dragons get that, do they?
Blindside 30 feet.
All right. She turned towards the source, which appears to be an invisible creature sitting on top of the tree you're next to.
Mm-hmm.
But does not seem like threatened or alarmed, really.
I share my dragon's senses while riding her, so I would see it too.
Then you can make out this guy. Who basically goes, "Oh, I'm so thankful that I was right. You see, nobody knows that you came here last time, but I paid attention, you see, and that is good for both of us. Welcome to Hades." He says the last word with like a almost flourish and drawn out dramatic pause.
I must say it's a much more pleasant welcome than my last.
Oh, that is because you got very lucky and I was the one who found you. There are so many inhabitants here who would just want to rip you apart and cut you into small little slices, preferably while you're still alive, and then feed you your own slices. Things like that, basically. I, of course, only have your best interest in mind, because your best interest might be my best interest, you see. Quite frankly, you need me, because whatever you're here to do, I mean, you're not going to find, or you don't seem like the sort who comes here often. Let's put it that way.
Oh, why don't you tell me what it is you think we can do for each other?
Well, that depends. I would need to know what you're here to do.
Sort of looks around and says, I'm pretty confident I can achieve what I'm here to do without any help. So you can offer or I can fly away.
Where, pray tell, would you fly to? And quite frankly, you've already revealed that you don't really know what you're doing. Flying here is a terrible idea. Either you get caught by one of the glass storms, or bone devil patrols, a swarm of angry imps frustrated at their way of life or hit by lightning. Heat storms are common, or you might get spotted just in general, which would not end well for you. So,
We'll manage.
all right then. I mean, I do need to point out that it is not in my best interest if you fly off and just die. That would be a
Well,
lost
then, if it's not
opportunity.
in your best interest, then tell me what it is that you want.
The imp pauses. Well, quite frankly, I want some benefit from this. We can
I assumed as much.
negotiate the details, of course, but my offer is more than reasonable.
Then what would it be? I haven't heard
Well,
one yet.
I quite favor you giving me the thing you're not going to need for long anyways. Because who cares what happens after you die, right? So if you were to sign over your soul to me, why, I could do so much for you, for your entire lifetime. If I would be dedicating my every waking moment to making sure that you accomplish the things you want to.
I'm just going to let this guy monologue.
Oh, he
I'm just
will.
Yeah. Does it seem like he's just going to keep going?
He will go for a while.
I
Let's
cast
put it that
Scrying
way.
while he talks.
Sure.
Just tune him out and do what I came here to do. I'm going to hold on to Kira's harp and try to see Arkiranya.
Sure. Let's see. You are familiar. You have a possession. You roll a thing.
Can I use my rolls on this?
It depends on how your ability is worded, because if you need to.
Oh, I think it has to be something I see. So yeah. No,
yeah, that is unlikely if you're scrying.
Okay. He's not a god anymore, so.
You cast the spell, but see nothing. There is something preventing you from succeeding with this spell cast, basically.
Mm-hmm. So it doesn't seem like Arkiranya passed the saving throw. Like I'm hitting a wall.
Yeah.
Okay. I blink and stare at the imp, still monologuing. Think to myself, well, that's unfortunate. I guess we're on to part 2, and I am going to cast teleport to see if teleporting works in here.
Yeah, at this point, the imp sees you casting spells. He sort of peters out and just watches you. Teleport. You can certainly cast that spell, but that fails altogether.
So teleporting doesn't work in here? All right.
No, if your target is just further than you can see, basically, it does not.
No, I have a place in mind. It's one I've been to before.
Yeah, but you basically can only teleport like 300 feet, as you found out with like Dimension Door. That works.
Yeah, I was
long
only able to
distance.
test it before. So short distance works, and long distance does not.
Yeah,
Then,
long distance does not.
All right, well, that's unfortunate. Maybe I am more in a position to listen now. You were saying?
Why, I was saying a lot of things and you weren't listening, so I hate to repeat myself. But suffice to say that if we can come to an agreement, I can probably help you. I've lived here all my life, obviously. I know the rules, and you don't.
A lot of people have been trying to enforce their rules, and I'm getting rather sick of it.
Well, in this place, it's nobody in particular enforcing their rules, but the very place itself. So it'll be difficult to be rebellious to existence.
Well, you know where to find me on my next visit. I press the gate.
All right.
Not interested in selling my soul. And then, yeah, fly back to the Dragonlord fort. Well, you know, I got my answers for my fact-finding mission. Weren't the ones I was looking for, but that's okay. At least you know. Yeah, and then I'll go and you know, do the couple days journey with Dareth Axel, and you know, spend some time just you know, actually bonding the two of us and whatnot, and then go find the others.
All right. Suppose you could find the others not too long after where we left off last session.
Mm-hmm.
A few days, perhaps, just to get some distance.
Yeah.
Suppose at this point I would then ask into the collected group here whether you have any plans or whether you just want to hang out.
I have no plans.
Take boats from pirates.
Yeah.
What's the plan?
Also,
Take
at one point we
boats.
should check about the ant people, but that's
Yeah, we need
or
to check
people.
on the ant people, the Kraken. Need to do something about that. Like, you know, stuff going on. But I don't know if taking boats from the pirates is a thing we can do right now, because if Kraken's out there, it might just sink us after we take them.
That is a good point. I mean, if it's actively looking for threats now, us amassing a fleet is probably, like, in quick order, might be something it turns
It
its
doesn't
gaze
have
to.
to be something we as a group go to do, but it's
Mhm.
something Demos is going to attempt. I don't know if there's a play challenge to it beyond he's going to go flying out trying to find the island and then see if he can either hire some pirates or just, you know, sort of get his way by way of force.
Well, if he's gonna do it, I'm gonna go help him. That's not in question. I'm just putting it out there that, you know, if there are two things we need to do is get the boats and kill the Kraken, then might as well kill the Kraken first.
I don't think that's the
So
thing
that the boats
we
don't
can
get.
do at the moment.
Yeah, I don't think that killing
Yeah.
a Kraken is something we can do.
Demos wants boats because then this distant Arisia
Mhm.
isn't going to attack.
Arisia doesn't have a fleet.
No,
Like-
we don't either, really. So
It distinctly doesn't have a fleet. It has never,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
it doesn't even have a port. Like, not a
Yeah.
proper port like Mitros does, so it's like,
good weakness we have from all these things. We should get some boats.
it's never going to attack. Or if it does, it's got to build boats as well, and you're building boats, so you're boat building together at the worst possible outcome. I don't think Arisia is a good, like, reason to go steal boats from pirates.
You're sure, but what's going to happen there?
Alright.
I mean, Artemisia doesn't have to go. It's fine.
So,
Okay.
alternatively, here's the thing: if we can just find a way to burn the Kraken's legendary resistances, you can use the Ruby Gate offensively. I could just send him to Hades.
What's stopping the Kraken who has shown magical ability from, I don't know, playing
Has it
shifting?
though? It was hoarding very powerful
I think we
scrolls, but I don't know if it
saw
can
that
be.
it had made like the runes, right? We
Yeah.
found out that he's an
Oh, the
incredible
rune,
Viking.
right? But that might be the
That's-
woman. That might be why she's there. Is she's like a powerful spellcaster doing
Right.
that for it?
We're gonna face the Kraken. We need something more substantial.
I
I don't think we have. I don't. Demas doesn't think he has what's needed. The Kraken.
Mhm.
All right.
Let's
So
just know why the Kraken's mad at us.
okay.
Well, he's
let's-
just gonna keep coming back and smashing your shit if we don't think of a solution for that.
Can we look at it
Right.
this way? If Demos has just decided that he's going to be doing this, I know the party's going to want to help him.
Yeah, at least resolve that.
At least, I mean, we're like, if Demos is set on going to the Indigo Island to fuck up some pirates or pay them or whatever, then he's going to have the support of us. I don't think that's even a question, right?
Mhm.
And it sounds like Demos is pretty set in his plan to go do this.
The thing
So-
he can do to alleviate some of the pressure on his.
Let's
Yeah.
just do it then. I mean, if it's something that Demos is set in doing, we all know we're going to end up we're going to want to help him. Like, our characters are going to want to help him whether they disagree or not.
Mhm.
Let's just do it. Just do it. If Demos
It
is
sounds
set,
like we're busy. We have plenty of time, so let's go do it, and then we'll do another thing.
I don't
we
know what other
won.
things we
The
have
big
to do.
battle's done. The Titans are defeated.
We don't really have much else to do.
Hmm.
Not outside of like downtime, so. Let's do it. Apparently, it's filled with treasure and non-human mortals. So
No.
I'll take Cyclopean boats. I mean, matter to me.
let's go. Let's do it.
All right. You travel via dragon, I assume.
Yeah.
This is a gorgeous map, I must say.
It's pretty.
I know I said it earlier, but
I found it, and if you like look, you can see the main hall.
oh, there's Echo.
You see like the main hall in like
Mhm.
the ground floor. You look to the top. There's a window and there's double doors because dragons can't fit through normal doors, as it turns out, especially when they get huge. So they'll be able to squeeze in that way.
Nice.
Ooh,
I just found Echo's token. That's some gorgeous art.
It's stunning art, right?
Yeah. Oh,
Love the eyes.
EKOH. I thought it was ECHO. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. There's like a
mhm.
there's like
Is
a
that
whole
new art for Argon as well? Cool.
yeah.
Yeah. Ari made some new art. I like it.
Nice.
Silver's such a
Uh,
hard color to capture.
It really is. Like, it just looks grey often.
I mean, it is.
Yeah, it is gray.
It
There's
is
no
grey.
silver.
Silver is just shiny grey. That's what it is.
Shiny
It's,
gray.
uh,
Yeah.
Nothing more you
I
can
don't
do.
have any glitter I can throw on top.
Nah.
Sadly.
Yeah.
We'd add some texture.
It's like gold. It's just shiny yellow.
Yeah, you just gotta like shine a lamp on it. Get that lighting right.
Yeah.
That's the only way.
Put
I
some
mean,
like embossing on it.
yeah. Like.
All right. Your trip. There's nothing really that can oppose you there. Flying up in the air. The only real danger is exhaustion, really. Make sure to mark down that it'll take 3 days, which means the dragon upon arrival will have 2 levels of exhaustion. But
It's
eventually,
It's 2 days to recover from that, isn't it?
yes.
A rest
That's why we
week,
need to
yeah.
make that airship so that we can not have this every time we go somewhere.
Yeah. All right. Anyway.
But eventually, you spot a small but actually pretty beautiful island. It's rocky shores, lots of almost forest, jungle-like vegetation all over the island. Many lagoons and like hidden, sort of half-hidden caves. And most importantly, perhaps, you can see most definitely signs of active and actually quite sizable civilization just from the air. You see fishing boats currently out with nets all over the place, really. Some even quite distant from the island, which generally would not be advisable. And on the island itself, there are structures, although they are not really houses, but more like almost more like tree house, sort of stacked on top of each other's with ladders and stairways going all over the place. More of a interconnected fort that crisscrosses along the trees and rocks on one side of the island. Although there are actually multiple of those constructions, as if they are independent towns. They each are vaguely slightly different, perhaps. You can see that they're different, but not exactly how, not from the air, although you can give me a perception check.
Our perception checks are pretty good.
Yeah. Rolling with advantage.
Remember, our dragons have good perception.
Yeah, but they also have
they do
disadvantage on this.
disadvantage, yeah, but still. I think Artemis
Whoa!
is pretty good. Yours pretty
Doesn't Dareth Axel don't give a fuck.
Yeah, man.
26.
23, 26. Pretty good rolls.
Yeah, Artemisia and Darius, perhaps counting the various little villages you can see. There's definitely 2, maybe 3 big ones with some little outposts and such that seem to be nearby. Most definitely independent. They each seem to have taken like up one corner of the island. Although both Aravenda and Aravexel do spot another one, which is nestled right in the center of the island in the more dense forest, which really does look like it's more tree houses that are barely perceptible from the air, as if they are intentionally hidden.
Sorry, I got pulled away at very, very bad timing. Could you? What was the thing that we saw?
Right. You can spot 4 different villages, one of which seems to be fairly hidden and is in the center of the island. In general, you're rolled high enough that you can even see the people, and most definitely see that they have also spotted you. Depending on the village, there seems to be a different sort of clientele around. The largest of the villages seems to be a mix of a whole lot of people. It's a lot of humans, but also sites that would be rare in Metros, but obviously not here, which is orcs and half-orcs. As well as a spattering of actually gnomes and dwarves, which are also incredibly rare in Metros, but seem to be more abundant here. Probably elves, although they're sort of hard to tell apart from humans from there. It's a metropolitan mix in one of the villages. The others seem to be a bit more uniform, with one village of dwarfs, almost entirely dwarfs. Another mostly humans. The one at the center, the most hidden one, seems to be elves, as far as you can tell, and the smallest seems to be halfling and gnomes. As you get close, you can clearly see that all 4 of the villages seem to be immediately getting battle ready. They seem to be producing large harpoons. The fishing boats are returning to their villages. Both are. You've rolled so well. I'll give you a bit more. They do not seem. They seem as if they are. Let me restart that. They seem as if they are very used to living in this hot climate. You could confuse them with savage barbarians. They are definitely built and dressed that way in their ramshackle looking villages. But a closer look reveals that they know their shit, and they've got some high quality gear too. Like the harpoons they are producing are not just wood, they are in fact steel. You can see some of the people walking around in proper armor, although it looks a bit worn to say the least. And they are moving about with maybe not military precision, but definitely determination and bravery, as they see a multitude of dragons approaching, which they do not seem happy about.
So before we
Very cool.
before we agree on where we're going, I want to suggest propose a way of us approaching these, with our dragons' safety in mind. How about I just Superman superhero land in the middle and tell them not to shoot our dragons? Because I can take the full damage, that's whatever to me. But I don't want to risk Aravandar getting shot with a steel harpoon.
Demas can also go down. He wouldn't take full damage due to the ring.
Yeah, we
yeah,
all have
right.
sources of flight, so but also they're tired. Why don't we just find a landing somewhere that's not in any of the villages, like the most empty area,
How are
and
their
then
boats looking?
Yeah, are they more than fishing boats?
Well, approaching you mostly see the fishing boats, but getting closer in the various dock-like structures, you do see a variety of boats. None of them come really close to the massive frigates that made up the Metrosian army, but they seem like the kind of boats that have seen some shit, to say the least. Imagine more of imagine
Like a
ships,
sloop?
but Mad Max basically. They are good, but for different reasons. And they are most definitely piloted by people who know their shit. Otherwise, well, yeah. They just have that look to them.
All right.
we found the Mad Max Navy.
Yeah. We'll see what can be done with them, but let's land somewhat outside of the metropolitan one. Yeah, they could start.
Yeah, I unfortunately do not have a nice overview map for you. So just imagine, it's a tropical island. If you have ever played World of Warcraft, it's Booty Bay, sort of in that style. A variety of levels interconnected with various wooden plank structures that seem cobbled together, but still well built, quite old, well maintained. And yeah, landing outside either means landing in the water or in the foresty, craggy rock area. There isn't really any convenient plains nearby.
Well, then just land in some open area that's big enough for it.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to call out that we had non-aggression, you can use thaumaturgy to increase your volume. And just say we don't mean you any harm if you don't throw harpoons at us first. We're here to talk.
I mean, let's just land. If they throw harpoons, we'll beat them up and then we'll talk. I mean,
yeah.
They hit Aravandar, they get killed. That's death.
Right, but the kindest thing you can do is give them a chance to not do that because they don't know our intent.
Yeah.
Right, if they attack afterwards, then yeah, fuck them.
Yeah. Shout it.
I mean, our intent. I wouldn't say we're not looking to harm them.
Or just say we
necessarily.
wish to talk first.
Yeah.
right?
We wish to talk. Yeah. Don't throw harpoons at us, and we're not here to strafe them, right? At least not immediately.
I think that is an excellent idea. Just say, don't shoot us. We're coming to talk.
Mhm.
Right?
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll use cast thaumaturgy and call that out as we're before we land.
Give me a persuasion and a perception check.
Okay.
In that order.
Persuasion and perception. Where's my skill check? Actually, you know what? This is pretty important enough that I think I'm going to use that 16 on the persuasion, and then we'll see what I get for perception. So I'm just going to modify this accordingly. Oh, good call. So plus 12, 25. And then perception on the die, 24.
Right, you speak your words, saying that you're here to talk, and as far as you can tell, while they're definitely not like putting away their weapons, they at least seem to be both slowing their preparation, sort of, maybe considering that you are just here to talk, and also not immediately taking any offensive action. It seems as if there's a activity is going down as if preparing to actually talk instead of fight.
Yeah, I mean, doing whatever it takes to feel safe is fine. Cool. There you go. Like do that gesture like after you to Demos, like the stage has been set. Do your thing.
We'll land wherever there's room. Ideally some like plaza or something. Sure they have.
It's fairly jumbled together. There's no huge plaza, but you can find a place that both seems strong enough to support dragons and also is reasonably large enough, although it's quite cramped, really. It's a variety of pathways, some chiseled into the mountain, others built with like plank hallways, multiple levels. You can find a spot, although you don't really have much room to move without risking actually breaking things due to weight and such.
Fine.
You can land. You're quickly surrounded, suffice to say, both just in the general area as well as on the sort of offset levels above. There's people getting ready with nets and harpoons, but they don't appear to immediately want to ambush you. They're making it very obvious that they are there, in fact. It's a rowdy bunch that opposes you. It's also very many. There must be at least 100 people just there ready to fight you if you so desired. With more people just going about their lives in their homes, dozens upon dozens of houses, and well, you've seen that they use quite intricate and quite well maintained looking weapons before, but they don't seem to just be steel. They seem to also be the occasional, perhaps adamantine saber being rattled towards you. They are well equipped, not the bronze you would expect, really. From the like rowdy mob that certainly is a contrast to Mitchelian discipline, a single character quickly extracts itself and, or rather, presents itself with an air of authority. It seems to be a half elf, with wearing like ragged, not quite ragged, but certainly well-worn trousers and no shirt, revealing a intricate series of bluish tattoos that spiral across his like tanned upper body. He has long hair covering most of his pointy elven ears, but his elven heritage is definitely visible. As he observes all of you for just a moment before he speaks with a loud, booming voice, not amplified by magic, but authority, and says, "My name is Gorak. You've come to the tribe of the shark with gestures of negotiation? What is it? Do you want to finally punish us for our crimes of trying to survive, supply ourselves? Do you come here to ask for reparations for the things we took, speak.
We are the legendary heroes who defeated the Titans and banished Kentamane. So it looks around. Do people recognize this? Do they know what that means? Are they clued in?
Give me an insight check.
Because he doesn't actually know if these people have ever heard about any of that. They're like, who's Kentamane? Why are you so mean to him? Insight check, 7.
At least Artemisia gets the feeling that they do very much know about you. They probably respect you. There's some respectful grumbles at least. But they are also not very happy about defeating Kentamane. That doesn't seem to sit incredibly well with them.
We have heard of prowess on these islands, and I, acting as king of Mitros, has come to see it with my own eyes. The city of Mitros took heavy damage during the battle with the Titans, and many of the ships were lost. You and these islands are renowned for your sailing, and certainly the pain you have wrought upon my people. So I suppose if you ask me why I have come for ship.
The half-elf ponders for a long moment before he says, "And what, pray tell, would it be that you can offer us? You need our expertise and our ships, I am assuming, as a direct result of what happened in your city recently. But our life here is good. We make..." That's just me blanking on the English language. We survive well on what we can plunder, and we would not change our life for anything else. Your offer must be grand indeed to convince us of anything. Recently, there would have been something you could have done for us, but that has, perhaps as a result of your actions, already resolved itself. There's very little you can offer us.
Would the other tribes upon this island have the same answer?
Give me another insight.
50.
Pretty sure that Demos hit something on the nose here. The expression of the half elf changes. She says, "The tribe of the shark is the most numerous one, and therefore we have the most skilled sailors among us, as well as a fighting force that could crush the other tribes if we wanted to. If you want to deal with anyone on this island, it will be us."
Yeah, I mean, Demos is not particularly. He doesn't feel bad for unapologetic raiders. This is a question. Is this a thing that Mitrosian trade ships and such get raided a lot? Like, where are they going to? Because Mitros is here. We have a massive harbor. What other cities do we actually trade with?
There is a reasonable amount of smaller villages and towns just scattered across the coast. I mean, what is it called? The inn that we started the campaign in is like one of those tiny towns, basically, and there's a bunch of those around. Civilization is definitely concentrated in the cities, but that does not mean that there's always a bunch of adventurous folk just going out there and making like these little villages for like 20, 30, 40 people. And yeah, there's plenty of those. If you travel around a bit, you can find some of those, especially in the like protected heartland, like behind the gate that is Astoria.
Yeah, you must look at this guy and say, perhaps your lives are good. He will look out the crowd and say, but there might be people who want more. I'm looking for those people of strength, skill, and ambition. If I cannot find them here amongst your tribe, I suppose I shall ask the others.
The half-elf scratches his craggy, bleached beard as he says, "Who are you then? We know the rumors, of course, chosen heroes, the ones that defeated the Titans. We believe that. Yet you fought Kentimane, you seek to have Mithrils prosper. What is the land to you?"
I am Demos. I am the son and heir of Pythor, Lord of War. The land is Thylia, and it is a place that needs protecting. When I battled Kentimane face to face and defeated him in his rage, I was left with a choice, whether to slay him forever or to simply quell his rage and place him in a slumber until he regains his strength and sensibilities. I chose the latter. I'm not someone who wishes to break the world asunder, to shatter what exists. I simply wish to do well for my people, ideally for all people.
He nods, apparently vaguely satisfied with the answer, as he says, "And you have been chosen by the five, all of you, yes?"
By the Oracle.
Sort of does a dismissive gesture. Same thing, same thing. The Oracle speaks for the five, everyone knows that.
Who are you to question us so?
We are the ones who fought on the right side when Phylea was first. When the when the Dragonlords came, they were the ones who plundered and raided and conquered. There were many of us who have been here for far, far longer than most, far before the Dragonlords appeared. And we decided that that would not be. So we defended the land from these invaders. You now, the successors, whatever, of the Dragonlords, come here asking for our help, which is amusing. Either we remain enemies because you have the same values that the imperialists of the Dragonlords back then had, or you've changed, in which case, perhaps there's a future. We are here to live off the land, to defend the land, and to prosper of those who do not.
I think you have misunderstood. The Dragonlords and the new foundation that it is not asking for this. The King of Mitros is asking for this.
And yet he is one of them, is he not? You come here riding upon a dragon. What else could you be?
What he does not is I am a Dragon Lord, yes. The new Dragon Lords are better than the old ones. We were not informed at first of their treachery, of their failures to live up to the standards we would set for heroes. But we do. And perhaps that is exactly why we need people like you to work with us. Because if things should begin to slip, not now, perhaps, but in a generation or two, it would be important to have those whose history is rarely told in our parts of the world.
It would be good to have people that can correct us if we stray from the path.
We do not need to be allies to do that.
We do not need to be enemies either. Allies would benefit both of us. All of us.
And I'm curious, what do you mean by live with the land? I don't think I'm familiar. I certainly know that your people have raided merchants forever, and I'm curious as to how. It seems you say that is not because it is convenient for you to simply take what you cannot produce.
I will not
Beyond
deny
that-
that it is convenient sometimes, but our way has developed out of a few principles. One of which is to do as we please, in a sense. But that also means that we should not destroy what lets us do what we please. The land itself offers nothing but shelter, fruits, and the materials for our ships. It gives us everything without asking anything in return. No, those asking for something in return are the greedy merchants, the kings, the queens, the mayors. Those would have us write contracts and do things for them that they prosper of far more than whatever they give us in return. We've been in those relations before and we have no interest. And we've seen the roots of cities, the Dragonlords, the shipwrecked who clung to their old, outdated ideals of their homelands, who build factories, who produce things with the only purpose of making money to produce more things. Those who would cut down forests to build mansions the size of. He shrugs.
Yeah,
We
Tios
do
knows.
what we do because we think it is the right way to live, and therefore we take the things we need from those who do not live that way. It is actually quite simple.
Tios nods. That is quite simple. That's what he does. In a way. I mean, he doesn't really know about like grand philosophy. I don't think he's thought about it like this before. Really. That's fascinating. And what about your weapons? I see they're great quality. You make them yourselves?
Give me an insight check.
Sure. True.
As he will answer. The weapons some of us wield are heirlooms, in a sense. They were with our ancestors who ended up in Phylea or on one of the islands, and eventually we, their descendants, found ourselves here, still using the gifts that our ancestors were stranded here with in order to prosper, to defend ourselves, to defend the land and our way of life. Relics of an ancient time, of a land that is not Phylea, of what came before. But quite frankly, they are simply convenient tools. Their history does not matter.
All right. Well, how could I become your ally?
Perhaps on the way there, there's a question that we could not answer up until now. You come here traveling on dragons, and one of our greatest enemies over the last decade was one of them. Yet recently, he or she, I couldn't tell, disappeared. Would you know why?
Is it a big green dragon?
He shakes his head. No, it was one of those, as he points to Derifaxer. A bit larger, a menace for shipping boats. Never dared attack our tribes directly, but a nuisance nonetheless. We often paid a tribute, so it would leave us alone.
We thought. I don't think
Big red dragon? No.
that's us.
What? No, definitely not us.
No, we haven't killed that one.
No, it's the only red dragon related thing besides Dareth Axel we've encountered was the like orb thing in the Kraken's lair.
You know. Do you know where it came from?
He shakes his head. No, it appeared one day and then disappeared recently.
Should it appear again, perhaps we should have some way to send us a message. We might be able to fight it in the air.
I do not think it will. The place it laired is empty.
Hmm. Well, perhaps we should go investigate the lair, see if there's any hints there.
I'm sure they've done so.
Yeah, he gives Darius a sort of dismissive gesture and says, "We've looked at it. There's nothing there for you to gain any information from."
Hmm.
Well, so all the different tribes
Perhaps
live in
we
the
don't
same.
see with the same eyes.
He adds another dismissive gesture and says, "Oh, feel free to take a look, I suppose. It is not difficult to find. It is on the highest peak of this island, not too far from here. I'm sure you can spot it from the air."
All right.
What can you tell me of the other tribes?
They are not worthy of your attention. This, the tribe of the shark, is who you want to have an alliance with if you want someone relevant. In the center of the island, there's the tribe of the Dolphin. The elves, all of them, they want nothing to do with anyone. On the eastern side, dwarves, they are a curious lot. They admittedly have some trade relations with us. Their weapons, although of course crude, as they are limited to what they can plunder and find on this island, are quite interesting. But they are not who you want. And to the north, the tribe of the eel. Halflings, gnomes, living in whatever whimsical. They are not fighters. They are crafty, I'll give them that, and they are good at running away, but they lack the strength that you would want.
And yet you give me no way to obtain that strength. Thus, I must look at others who might be tempted to join.
You're very hasty. We've seen you for 15 minutes, and now you come asking for an alliance, despite our values being so vastly different despite our roots being inherently opposed. I am not opposed to an alliance, although the reasons, I think, might surprise you. We, of course, know about you. We've heard the rumors from raids, from those few merchants who are daring enough to trade with us. But recently, we've gotten a visitor. It is not entirely unusual that the inhabitants of nearby islands come to visit us when the tides are right. But he spoke of calamities that await Philea. Most of us put him off as some doomsayer. He was strange. He was a lizard folk. We do not have many of them here. There are some, although this one was even stranger, as he was entirely white, as if his very scales had bleached. He spoke words of caution and unity, suggesting that our tribes get past their differences so that we are more able to oppose whatever comes in the future. And now you arrive here with words of working together. I would be a fool to disregard those immediately. Yet I am cautious.
What do you know of the Kraken?
Give me another insight check.
I like this guy a lot.
His face turns stony. The Kraken is a myth. Whatever it is, was sealed away a long time ago and has not been spotted since.
So I have seen it with my own eyes. Recently, it came to my city in Mitros, broke into the library, took the books that would pertain to the weaknesses of the great mythical beasts of old, destroyed them, and then left. We followed it to its lair, saw that it has quite a lot of power.
The
You have heard
half
the words
elf
of calamity, then
the half elf like raises a fist in a sort of gesture, a quick like sort of twist with his wrist in some sort of hand gesture, as a lot of the crowd seems to see this as the sign for situation resolved. Get back to your stuff. Many of them, leaving, putting down their weapons and such. As he gestures at you and says, "We should speak in private. Tell your mounts to graze somewhere else, I suppose. I do not want my people to have to guard them."
I think she will need no guarding. We'll just let Cersei do whatever she wants. I mean, she probably goes somewhere where she can be, big tree or something.
Yeah, she seems a bit miffed at the treatment of her, but at this moment at least decides that this is not the time to make trouble.
He's too tired.
That also. As the half elf leads you into one of the like wooden structures, which is basically just an empty room. There's like a table, a few chairs. Not exactly luxury. But it seems to be private enough for him. So he gestures for you all to sit.
Sure. By the way, so we have a siren. Does that seem to be a thing? Because you didn't mention there were any like native Thylian people.
It is true. There do not seem to be any sirens in particular there. It is difficult to decisively say that there were no nymphs present, because often they do blend in pretty well. But in general, it seems to be, the mortal race is not native to Thailand. That is true. Yeah. It is worth noting that Ariad, give me an insight check.
Sure. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, Ariad doesn't feel as if she's regarded as anything exotic. It is likely that this tribe is actually quite familiar with the job that sirens usually do. But they do not seem to live with them here.
Yeah, I mean, winged messengers are, I think, known, especially in the smaller communities where you, need someone who can get stuff that, around that when there isn't a big trade road or something like that.
Yeah, gestures for you to sit. See, then again scratches his beard before he says, "I've heard that the Kraken has resurfaced. There were enough rumors about its attack on your city that it reached us eventually. I do not want this knowledge to become common. We've been visited by a doomsayer suggesting the end of all things, and now the Kraken has been spotted. Coincidences? I think not. We do not know much about it. I was not lying when I said it is a myth. It is one that is prevalent. It is the king of the seas, if it weren't for Sidon, sealed away generations, well, more than generations. At the beginning of time, some stories say. Quite frankly, if you're looking for details or descriptions or ways to kill it, then I cannot offer those. I can only offer that whatever you've heard about it, it's probably worse.
Are you familiar with any red dragon it may be associated with as an enemy, perhaps? There was fragments of a very powerful red dragon that even that consciousness that was physically and magically imprisoned within its lair was able to make quite an impression. You have a red dragon who's acting differently that used to lair on your island.
There are some contacts that I can ask about that sort of thing. But I don't have much for you. Either way, I think we should get back to the matter at hand. What is most important to me is the survival of our people.
Mhm.
I truly believe that there may be something to the idea that great change is coming, and change often brings with it destruction. You've apparently killed the Titans, defeated Cantimane. I could very well believe that you might be the source of this disturbance, and yet your gesture of coming here offering cooperation is one that I do see as a good sign. If it weren't for the sighting of the dragon, I would probably see you as the exact reason for whatever future calamity might come. Yet there is a small chance that you might be exactly the opposite.
Well, if you did not have us, you would have the twin titans now here, unbridled once more, doing what
Mhm.
they wish to do. Something that, and here's look at this. I spoke directly to Thylea, who told me that there was no way to avoid a confrontation with the twin titans. That what has to that what we had to do to them, killing them, was necessary, even if Kentamane would be enraged by that fact.
Oryx's eyes get intense at the mention of speaking directly to Philea as he almost stares at Demos for a moment, and sort of his expression gets softer as he says, "Don't think you're lying."
Yes, seems a little confused at that notion. He basically never does. It's just something he's grown up with because mostly people just cheer at what he says. Hilnanzi. I am not. There's an island called the Golden Heart where one can, if allowed by Thaldia, ask questions. My question was whether there was a way to solve this. I was told it was regrettable, but that we must win the conflict to come, and that we must also calm the rage of Kentamane, lest he bring even more destruction upon this world.
We've no particular love for the Five, although nor for the Titans. Our relationship with Sidon has always been one of being mostly ignored as long as we pay him proper respects. Any proper sailor knows that the odd sacrifice to Sidon makes for smoother sailing. It is the price it takes. In the few grasslands of this island, we have, in previous times, specifically raised tribute livestock for that kind. You know the kind.
Well, not.
And now you can keep them for yourself, but that does not mean the seas are still safe. Regardless of whether we come out of this as allies or not, we seek to keep the seas safe, which is why the Kraken, the dragon, all of this needs attention. And your values of keeping your people safe, alive, healthy, working with the land are ones we can all appreciate, can all agree with. You're not wrong in your assessment of the old Dragonlords.
What is it then that you want of us specifically? You want our ships, our sailors, for what purpose?
Because we don't have any, and that is frankly an uncomfortable situation for someone who's been used to always having ships. I did not know what to think when I came here. Certainly, the reputation of these islands is somewhat undershooting what we have now found. We need to be able to protect ourselves, and to do so, it seems we would need ships. It will take a long time for our own fleet to be what it once was. Many years, in fact. And so, until that is done, at least, we might make use of other ships. Beyond that, there are many islands around here that might lend good lumber, but without ships to transport it, it is out of our reach. We do not wish to overuse the local forests for lumber to replenish our ships. Rather, if we could thin it in a wider scope, perhaps it would be less troublesome.
And should the worst happen, our citizens would need a way to flee while we go out and face what may be coming for them.
You must just frown at that.
Which is why the seas need to be made safe ahead of time.
If you're seeking for ships to defend yourselves, what is it you expect to need defense from?
Monsters. I don't know what kind, but I think, well, the Kraken broke our books, our ability to learn about them, to learn what kind of things that are there. People with harpoons, with. It looks at them with nets and exactly the sort of things we're finding here. Yes. I believe Mitros will be the headquarters for the attempt to stop whatever is going to happen. And I believe the Kraken might return. I believe that with ships, it might not want to. Certainly, there's a reason it hasn't done so before our fleet was decimated.
Then I would propose this. We will give you exactly what you're asking for, a couple of our most well-equipped ships and their crews to defend your city, escort your merchants if you so desire, as long as you do not oppose the occasional tax exacted upon those merchants, of course. Your enemies appear to be potentially, if it comes to it, if the warnings are true, appear to be the same enemies we would face. It would be foolish not to combine our forces. And yet, I do not see more cooperation beyond that. You will not change our way of life. As long as we have the same goals, I think that's workable. But we will not adhere to any of your rules. You may give my people orders. The ones I sent to you, of course, and if they're reasonable, they will be executed.
And what of this island's unity?
That is not your problem.
Not slowly. It certainly seems workable. I mean, he has no great love for randomized merchants. It's not really a problem he's been asked to deal with.
Well, you can bet that'll be used against you politically, but that's not something my character really cares about.
Friends, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he'll say, all right. I will go take a look around the island then. I'm sure my companions here will want to look at the dragon's lair. I will visit the other tribes as well, see what they have to say about the situation, this place, what their philosophy. And then I will return.
Doesn't seem entirely happy about it, suffice to say.
Yeah, I think this figures there's something that he's not telling him.
See, we'll say, if you have to visit the other tribes, then at least take this word of warning. Do not visit the tribe in the center of the island. The elves want nothing to do with you, and all that awaits you there is, well, angry elves, really.
No, it's not. Yeah. It sounds like he shouldn't go there. Fair enough.
I was gonna say I have bad experience with angry elves.
And the thing is, we can always ask the other tribes if they feel the same.
Yeah.
If they all
Yeah,
agree.
hit them last. Get
I
more
love
information.
shooting people from 1,000 feet. Like, you know what? It's not.
Yeah, like this seems workable. You know, we could like attack these
Yeah.
guys and conquer them, but it seems
Well,
like that
actions
kind of
speak louder than
wasteful-
words. So let's start with something, and then maybe people on both sides will feel differently in the future.
Let's go visit the dwarves.
Yeah, you go ahead. I'm gonna go check out that dragon lair.
Sure.
All right. The tribe of the whale, as it is called.
Yes. Sorry, I'm already
excited. Yes,
I'm
whales.
already choosing. I'm like, dwarfs, yes. Whales, yes. They're the best.
They're the
sea
perfect.
creatures. This is great. Sharks. Sharks can go home. Whales are cool.
Yeah, the well, finding them is easy enough, as you can fly. Their tribe, their village, is certainly much smaller than the tribe of the shark. Although there's still a reasonably large population, it is just that most of them seem to be sort of situated in a cave, or rather a mine that is dug from their little dock-like tribe village that has some resemblance to the tribe of the shark, into one of the adjacent mountains there, or cliffs, I suppose, at the coast. You are met with pretty much similar opposition as before, although again they are willing to listen. They do not seem to be incredibly hostile. Worth noting that there are some visual differences. Well, on the surface, they use the same structure of like various layers of buildings made out of wood with like pathways connecting them. There do seem to be some sort of almost grid-like, although it's really all over the place, connection of pipes and moving things in general. There seem to be constructions that automatically lift platforms from one layer to the other, and there's a general air of a bit of a steampunky nature to all of it, basically.
Yes, they are the coolest.
You're
Just
met
makes me think of Colossi.
by a smaller by a smaller group, although most of them seem to be wearing some sort of metal armor with long, nasty-looking axes. Of course, they're dwarves. Intricate designs on a lot of it, although looking ancient and worn. Their armor has lots and lots of like metal patches just welded up on places where there used to be damage. Some their ancestor got skewered by like a sword or a horn or something. Yeah, sucks, but gotta fix the armor and use it in the future. That sort of look to it. They're a bit of a they have the same sort of rowdy energy, but they're a bit of a phalanx feel as they do the same sort of surrounding as they did before. Their leader appears to be another dwarf, surprise, who is not just wearing iron armor, but adamantine armor, as well as a shield. They cannot be described as gleaming, although they must have been in their prime time. They are best described as well used. No scratches, of course, it's adamantine, but there are dents, which is notable for adamantine armor. It is patched in places. It, however, fits him perfectly. The dwarf, although you don't see much of him, is tan, to say the least. Bearing similar, although a bit more like what's the word? Similar sort of bluish tattoos as Gorek had, although the designs seem far sharper, like triangles and like yeah, basically
like runic more than
almost runic, although it doesn't seem like it resembles a language. Perhaps inspired by it though.
Do those runes also appear in other dwarves around here, or is it exclusive?
Yes, they seem to be a just sign of the tribe, really. All of the dwarves, looking at them, have some sort of motive on their skin, at least the little bits of skin you can see. He, however, seems to have the most.
Must will hold up his own adamantine gauntlet at hand.
There's a bit of a grumble of respect at that gesture, although still caution. The dwarves, however, are not nearly as vocal as the ramshackle group of all kinds of people of the tribe of the shark was, as they seem to be waiting for you to make the first move here.
Yes, we'll speak and say, "I am Demas, legendary hero. These are my fellow companions. We are vanquisher of titans." And he sort of changes his wording a little bit. Appeasers of Kentimane. I am also acting here as king of Mitros. I've come to visit your tribe, to hear of you, and seeking your aid.
There's a bit of a wave of grumbles as the dwarf speaks. I am Delk. You are in the tribe of the whale. We have no interest of what you speak of, but we have interest of things we cannot obtain ourselves. So if you come here to trade, then our ears are open.
Do they have ships? Ship and stores?
They do seem to have ships. These ships they have are generally smaller compared to what the tribe of the shark had, but they seem elaborate. There's a lot of metal spikes and contraptions adorning them. They're more of a design that is much lower to the water, as if they're just a platform for a whole bunch of stuff. Like the fishing boats appear to have like net launchers, while their combat boats appear to have sort of almost gadgety looking ballistae, sort of that sort of thing.
Your people seem ingenious. Ingenuity is of high value to us. As for what we might offer in return, Demas will take out something. He has things with him. this case, it would be something of mithril. 'Cause we have the workings of the mithril mine. Long have I sought for smiths to take up the crafting of defenses, of weapons that might revolutionize the way we fight. I have materials. I have some smiths, but those I have relied upon the five, on Pythor, and Vulcan for far too long. It would seem that you have created the things you have without such divine inspiration.
There's a I don't know how that combination of words works, but there's a greedy grumble as you mentioned the mithril forge. It's well, Del just permanently frowns. Really, there's no difference in his natural expression and when he actually frowns, as he says, "I don't care for your fancy words, but if you can promise us mithril and perhaps even adamantine to do with as we please, then I'm sure we can come to some sort of agreement."
You guys would love to promise adamantine if you only know where that stuff came from. You know, he has no idea. It's certainly good stuff, though. So if you can produce things of power, then I will do my utmost to acquire you the materials to do so. Might you show me, let's see something you've made. I'm curious to see what you can produce.
Delk hesitates a bit before he says, "What you would consider impressive is not what we have, yet what we do here is impressive. Our resources are minuscule compared to what you mainlanders are used to, your excess, yet we make do regardless. We recycle, we upcycle. We build things that are practical out of the little things we have. We make the most out of life itself. If you're not impressed by that, then nothing I will be able to show you here will impress you, nor are we interested in impressing you. Our skills, as you've identified, are significant. Otherwise, we would not have survived for as long as we did, nor conquered and captured as many merchant vessels as we have. You should know that of the tribes on this island, we, despite being one of the smaller ones, have gained the most riches over time."
Nods. Just, well, do you particularly enjoy this existence? Would you not rather come with me to live out greater potential?
If by greater potential you mean being chained to a forge through means of regular pay, while here we have excitement, adventure, and need to rely on our skills, then quite frankly, most of us would choose to stay here. However, there is, I will admit, an appeal to partaking in the mainlander's excess of materials with a little bit more ease and regularity. We can come to an agreement if you give us the materials. We, in return, will produce, make things for you, as long as you don't try to force your rules and laws and regulations on us. We make practical things.
And you sort of also this. Are you familiar with the Colossi of Mitchell?
He nods. Of course, of course. They too, those things of access. Why make something that defends a city to also look pretty? It just needs to be functional.
If you can build me an ugly Colossi, I'll fund it.
We will promise nothing, but the project might be interesting.
How do you feel about the other tribes in this island?
They speak grand words of their skills and abilities, but in the end, the tribe of the shark is just a bunch of people who fight things with quantity alone. Tribe of the eel just talks stories all day long and doesn't actually do anything. And the tribe of the dolphin just, they don't do anything. They hug trees, I've heard.
Are they friendly?
To trees, yes. To everyone else, no.
At least that lines up with what we know.
Yeah, I was beginning to think that wrangling these people is going to be difficult.
Sound like druids almost.
The
Tree
thing is, they
huggers that
might
hate
be the
people.
most reasonable ones. Who knows?
Who knows?
Yeah. With a fleet, see, we could tell them that this raiding thing is over and they'll have to work with us. But now we don't really have that pressure. These guys, though, they do have something I want, which is skill. It's unreliable when they basically say, "Oh, we'll just do whatever we want all the time." And I have to, if I'm going to employ you, then
Mhm.
there'd have to be some gift to the take, right?
Yeah. However, being able to recycle adamantine and mithril, like, that's impressive.
I mean, we've got a bunch of adamantine bullshit that we don't like. They can
Yeah, exactly. And this
recycle.
whole time, it's been like, nope. Once the bar is made into something, that's that. That
Be
this
great if
is
they could rework
unheard
that.
of.
Yeah.
Yeah, take all those javelins, all those daggers, remake them into something.
US has been looking for, more smiths for the Mithril Forge. Because at the moment it doesn't really produce much of anything. Yeah, okay. That's sort of their deal. Be great to get them off this damn island, though. Yeah, seem like it. Parts. US sort of looks at it as, would it be possible for you to? I mean, you want excitement. How about fighting some sort of giant monster?
The dwarf sort of creases his eyebrows. For what purpose? Why would I do that?
Because it wants to destroy everything.
I wouldn't enjoy that particularly much. It wanting to destroy everything part, and we do our damnedest to stop it from doing so.
That's a good start. Seems like we have a similar opinion on that much, at least. That makes Steamus happy. There's some, seems like there's a common framework of. Good. Well, thank you. I will go and visit the other tribes and see what they're all about. I might come back here to discuss more of deals.
Well, if you have to visit the other tribes, I don't quite see the point. But if you do, stay away from the tribe of the eel. Those halflings and gnomes, they speak all those fancy stories, but in the end, they just want to slice you open and take whatever is in your pocket. The elves, they're harmless, really, and the tribe of the shark is just a bunch of lunatics, but those gnomes, I tell you.
Steamus frowns. Okay, now elves are harmless and gnomes are terrible. Interesting. Well, let's go visit those, let's say goodbye to the dwarf and then go visit the halflings, probably. Right, guys?
You're steering the ship, man. I don't know.
Yeah, and I'm not there, so
Let's see what's up with them.
All right, while you travel to the gnomes. Darius was investigating the lair.
Yeah, I mean, he'd check in with Dareth Axel first, see if she wants to come in for the ride. But if she's too tired, I can just cast fly on myself. And
I think Artemisia will want to come with you. She's not into the whole talky deal.
yeah, the politicking is not for Darius. Okay. I guess with our Vandar then too. Do they want to come or do they just need to rest?
I think let them rest.
Come.
Okay.
Or come.
They are basically of a mind. If you give any indication that they might be useful, they will come no matter what.
Oh, okay. I would like to make an insight check. Says, are they good or should I say nah? Nah.
I think they're tired. I think we should let them sleep.
Yeah. I mean, they're their own people. I mean,
Although, we're not going to
Dareth
fight.
Axel especially is an adult, even though she's in a young body. So like, she can make her own choices.
Actually, let's let them come along, especially if we need like our Vandar's knowledge, because he's
Like, we're not their
smart boy.
masters; they're our partners. So they want to come, then they're coming.
Yeah.
You basically need them to get there and get back from there in the first place. So
Yeah, I can cast fly so many times, but I want to bring them. So
All right, let's bring them along.
I want to spend time with them.
OG team, let's go. OG babies.
OG
Alright.
babies.
map.
Yeah, I think on the rides, probably all of them except for maybe our Vandar would at least Artemisia and Dareth Axel would feel Darius is troubled by the last conversation, but he doesn't say anything.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And yeah, we'll go look for that highest peak.
Artemisia and Darius look for the highest peak. That's pretty easy, as he indicated. It's sort of on the eastern edge of the island, and flying around it, it's pretty obvious that a large thing has nested there for a while. You know, there's your stereotypical sort of plateau/cave, and if you were a dragon, that would be where you would have lived. Yeah.
How does Dareth Axel feel about this red dragon's lair?
It's a good lair.
I mean, as far
You
as
like
she's
it?
concerned, this is quite embarrassing, really. It's like a hole in the mountain. Big deal.
Yeah, quite right.
However, give me investigation checks.
I will cast guidance on myself before doing that.
Oh.
How long does guidance last?
A minute, I think.
think
Yeah,
it's
investigation is a bit of a matter of
It's a while.
like
Sure.
half an hour.
Mm-hmm.
It's intelligence based, right? Okay.
Yeah, but I can assume we're getting help from our companions, right?
Sure, they can help.
Yeah.
Or it's like, isn't it? 8 is
Just need a
advantage. No?
scale or something. Oh, now we're talking. There we go.
I'm not even gonna roll. I physically cannot beat that. Actually, I'll roll just to see how
How Vandar does.
how well we do. Yeah. No well.
Here you go, everyone. You can learn about embarrassing reds, apparently.
As far as you can make out, a lot of the cave part of the lair was dedicated to storage of a sizable treasure hoard. Likely a combination of tribute given to this dragon by the various tribes on the island, as well as whatever it might have planted itself. But most of that is gone, which is notable because a dragon forgetting to bring part of its hoard going somewhere suggests that it was in a hurry.
Yeah.
And probably not just in a hurry, because even in a hurry, you prioritize your stuff over getting places quickly.
Naturally.
But
if you're a dragon.
but likely not in the best of mindsets at the time.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Enthralled or fleeing. One of the two.
Yeah, dominated maybe.
Yeah, like what?
What was left behind? It's just like random gems and
Yeah,
gold?
like a few coins, a gem or two, like let's say 200 gold pieces in value. But Derefexel can confirm that is
Yeah, it's nothing.
that is deeply troubling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A dragon, a red dragon, leaving money behind.
Yeah,
Oh.
I'm gonna take that. On a 25, do I find a scale or something left behind from the dragon's body?
I think that roll is so good that sure you find like a little piece, maybe not an entire scale, but like I don't know, nail clippings.
Some shed skin.
Yeah,
It's just sitting there filing its nails on its loot pile one day.
yeah.
Yeah, actually, the adamantine nail file. Cool. That's all perfect. With I have an object of the dragon's, and I have a piece of its body, so I will cast Scrying on that dragon.
Scrying. All right,
Yes.
let me look up that spell again.
Here you go. It has a bonus of +5 because I only have heard of the target. It's secondhand knowledge. But I have a possession, which is -4, and a body part, which is -10. So.
I don't think those stack. I think you just take the highest.
Oh really? I thought they stacked. Because the opposing modifiers wouldn't, like, they would have to stack, right?
Pretty sure you just take the highest.
Which is modified.
I think the knowledge.
Which is modified by how well you know the target and the sort of
yeah,
physical
so
connection.
you don't.
Yeah.
You don't stack all of the connections. You just take the highest connection, and you take whatever knowledge.
Okay, so ultimately, so it's got to make DC 24 to save.
24?
Yeah, 19. Oh wait, no.
19
what am I talking
plus
about?
5
14.
minus 10, so 14.
Yeah, so 14.
Yeah.
Wait, no, hang on.
Yeah.
19.
Yeah.
So it's got +5 to its save, and then
minus 10.
Minus 10.
So 14.
Right.
No. A net -5.
Minus 10 to the roll that it's making, meaning +5 to the DC.
just tell me the DC.
Okay.
Like without any modifiers, without nothing.
The DC is 19.
Okay.
We'll see if the mods matter.
The dragon fails the DC. After your 10 minutes, the scrying takes effect. Let's see, how much do you see?
I'm gonna give.
You can see and hear the creature.
Let's give Juniper some hit points. Maybe she can actually survive more than one hit. No, I'll give it to Artemisia.
All right. What you see is perhaps not incredibly revealing, as you see the creature, a reasonably sized, most likely adult red dragon, really just moving around on the ground. The area around you, although your sensor probably can't see that far, looks to be somewhat dry. Maybe
I can see through the sensor as if I was there.
Oh, as if you were there. Okay, then you can actually see quite a bit. It looks reminiscent of the sort of savanna tundra north of Astoria. However, that area is so vast that pinpointing the exact location would be borderline impossible. As for the dragon itself, despite most likely having the possibility of seeing the invisible sensor, it does not seem to really pay attention to it. It seems almost frantic. Give me an insight check.
Insight. Yeah, I would like. What's going on with this dragon?
I remember we established at some point I have advantage from reading dragons. Does that apply here or no?
I think so, yeah.
Ugh, yikes, 13.
Yeah, you're not entirely sure, but the dragon seems to be busy doing something, and it seems to be driven to do it.
Okay, how long does this spell last for? Up to 10 minutes. I'm just gonna study it for study its surround. Like, it's not in motion, is it? It's not flying or traveling anywhere.
It's walking around, flying on occasion. It doesn't seem to be staying at the same spot for a long time.
Okay. So finding the others and teleporting is not an option. Cool. I think I'm just gonna wait out the spell and watch it, see if I can. I know I failed the check, but just try to figure out what the hell's going on with this thing. Does it have its horde with it?
You don't immediately see it.
Okay, cool. I'm just gonna watch, see if it's like, is it traveling in circles? Is it traveling erratically? Does it seem to be going in a general direction? Like just over time, what's the general path? How many turns and stuff? Is it ending where it started? That kind of thing.
Yeah, you can't really make out any pattern.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Then the spell ends. Well, I can't tell what's going on with it, but it's on the mainland, north of Astoria. Something's definitely altering its mind. It wasn't behaving erratic. It wasn't behaving like it should. It didn't have its horde with it, which is surprising given what we found here, right? It left so hurriedly.
I agree. Once we're back on the mainland, we should have a look.
I'm worried that the thing in the Kraken's lair is trying to find another puppet.
The first red dragon. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised.
Likely the wards in there, or maybe to make, it's making it difficult for it. But if that's true, that means its power is still leaking through at least a little bit.
Any way to find out is find it.
Yeah. Well, if we find the others, I can use the ruby gates to take us there and back, although that might not be the best idea. We should teleport instead.
Yeah. Once we get back to the mainland, let's hunt out this red dragon. I wonder what's going on with it.
Well, let's go outside. I'm sure we'll see Argon and Xerxia somewhere. Or did Demos and Ariad leave on foot or on dragonback to the other tribes?
I figure we did dragon just for time.
Yeah, on foot would be a very difficult affair. The island as a whole is not easily traversable at all, unless you have a boat, as it turns out.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Yeah, I think we just go on top of the peak and wait to see Xerxia and Argon, and then intercept them wherever they're going.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The tribe of the eel, then. Arriving there for Demos and Ariad, the party that welcomes you is very different compared to the other two tribes, as it's just like 3 halflings and a gnome. They don't seem to really have their weapons drawn, and the entire tribe, in fact, seems to be unconcerned with your arrival. There's just a little group of those 4 people basically waiting for you as you land nearby. Although finding a landing spot maybe takes a little bit. It's the smallest of the tribes, literally, because everything is like too small for normal sized people, as it's made for halflings and gnomes. The pathways are like half width, the buildings are like half size, and it has the same problem of basically being a large collection of interconnected tree houses rather than a real village. Yeah, but eventually you can find a landing spot. And yeah, the group of 3 halflings and a gnome dressed in actually almost garishly colorful garments, although faded, of course, in the sun. It's certainly a wild fashion, to say the least. They, too, in the few spots where you can see their skin below, like colorful shawls and whatnot that they're wearing, bear the same sort of blue sort of tattoos. These ones in like spirals and fancy patterns that like intersect, almost like some sort of art painting, almost rather than the runic or almost text-like design that the other tribes had. One of the gnomes, or rather the gnome in the group of halflings here, steps forward, does a flourishing bow before she says, "Welcome, O dragons and presumably their lords, to the tribe of the eel. Feel free to look around, I suppose. I'm unsure why exactly you have arrived here, but we've of course seen you interact with the other tribes. You do not seem to have hostile intent."
Yeah,
Wait.
I think Ariad would like look around. Like they were warned about this place. Is there anything like looking around that it seems immediately alarming? Like
Give me a perception check.
I will.
Meanwhile, Demas will give the same introduction he did to the previous tribe.
Sure. Looking around, Arrow doesn't spot anything off, really. Gnomes and halflings going about their daily lives, like drying fish and cleaning clothes and fixing boats and nets.
They have ships.
They do have ships, quite a few of them, although they seem to mostly be very small, sleek designs, mostly designed to, well, if you were to put people, like human-sized people on them, they wouldn't be able to fit much, but they do look very sleek.
Mm.
Almost like race boats, basically. Jet skis.
Well, as what is their philosophy? He's heard two of the other tribes. They certainly seem different. What are these gnomes and halflings all about?
The the gnome says, "Well, my name is Loopy Whoopy, and I suppose I represent the tribe of the eel currently, as that is our fancy. Philosophy, I'm not entirely sure what you mean. We simply live here and have a good time, really."
It's fair. Do you raid merchant ships?
Well, it's difficult to have a good time otherwise.
What
We
are the people-
unfortunately don't have the benefits of vineyards and theaters and such things, so we make our own stories. And we occasionally acquire the things that make listening to those stories far more pleasurable. I have, of course, heard of you. Your fame precedes you, obviously. So, if it's not too much of a bother, how much time do you have? There are plenty of us who would love listening to all of your exploits, to hear them firsthand.
Oh, I can tell you about that. I have, after all, lived all of them. That said, I did come here looking for a way to acquire ships that defend the port of Mitros. Now, your boats are very small for people of my size, so I would require crews with them.
Well, you see, I've heard what you've told the other tribes, of course. You're looking for help, which is understandable considering your situation. If I were you, I would disregard whatever is said about us. Consider this. We are few. our village is small. We seem irrelevant to the others, and yet we've survived for hundreds upon hundreds of years. Do you think we've done so? Is that a coincidence that we still live and are merry? Or is it perhaps our skill that lets us survive? I will tell you the answer right now. It is, of course, the latter. We are deceptive. Perhaps that is exactly what you need in this time. We are fast, we get places, we do things, and we can do a lot for you. And all we ask in return is, well, for us to have a good time, so we can talk about it later, and of course, the supplies that make for an enjoyable party. And gold. Lots of gold, really.
So wine and party hats to the gnomes.
No. All right. And in return, you would deliver.
We would, of course, let you make use of our most proficient sailors. Well, you might think, oh, those boats are far too small to do anything. Do you know that the most difficult part in capturing another vessel is catching up to it? Well, turns out for us that's not difficult at all. And the actual capturing part is also very easy, usually. If you're looking for cannons and ballistae, then look elsewhere. If you're looking for skill, speed, information, then you've come to the right place.
Information's useful, certainly. Demas has the thought that these gnomes might be able to also find other boats elsewhere. Just as the dwarves, he thought, maybe they can take some of the wrecked and broken ships and make use of them. Fix them a bit. Demas nods as well. It does seem like every tribe on this island has something they require, something they can offer me. Seems strange to me that have the tribes ever been united in something, working together for some sort of goal?
Well, each of the tribes will tell you, no, disregard those other tribes, but I can tell you honestly that if anything were to threaten this very island, then the force they would find would be mixed indeed. Other than that, it will take a literal apocalypse to get all these tribes to work together.
Well, don't worry.
Well, maybe we can help each other out.
I hope that something like that would never happen. And yet, I've seen much in my time, and I know that there are creatures now lurking that weren't before.
Yes,
sure
I've
we
heard
can
about
do
what happened to the Matrosian Academy. Odd that, isn't it?
You're well informed.
You could say so.
And yes, it is odd. Very odd, in fact. Might be a time to mend whatever schism exists between our people and the people of this island. You've weathered the storm, the Titans. You've not taken the same damage as we have. But I dare say, had we not been there, you would have taken the damage. Well,
Quite frankly, I'm pretty sure that even if the Titans had won that war, we would have not had to change our way of life at all. We've always coexisted with both the Titans and the Five, and quite frankly, we just kept out of all of it.
yes, but you do seem to rely on things from the outside. Merchants who would no longer be traveling past this. Without the possibility to raid, it seems that each tribe here would be lacking something crucial to their way of life. surely they would begin to raid one another to find those. Which, well, would end with either one or none winning.
Suppose that's a point I'd have to concede, although it is worth noting that Eurasia has kept out of the conflict with the Titans and therefore still presents a possible target. We would have survived, I'm sure. Although it is true that Mitros surviving in its current state is beneficial to us.
Well, I've heard your price, I suppose. Which tribe do you wish to warn us about?
She smiles at that and says, if you had come here first, I would have said that you should not bother with the tribe of the shark, as they are a lot that relies on numbers and sacrifices their principles for it. They just say whatever you want to hear because they want all the strength they can gather just for its own sake.
Thank you. The pattern has to be conceded. I take it then that the tribe of the Dolphin will warn us against the dwarves then.
Oh, absolutely. You see, the dwarves exploit the island more than the tribe of the Dolphin and its leader, aptly named Dolphin, would enjoy. Now, here's something to break your pattern. I will tell you about the tribe of the Dolphin. I have heard that Metros is currently trying to build more ships, as I'm sure you're aware, most of them have been lost. And if you visit those elves and somehow convince them that they can benefit from your relationship, they will turn out that their skill is to build boats. Now, here's why that is relevant. Their boats are crap. You need frigates, you need large boats, clearly, and you can build those eventually. But in the meantime, my people could perfectly do everything a large frigate can do and better. You need enemy ships sunk, we can do that. You need messages delivered through blockades, we can do that. You need things found out, contacts to be contacted, we can do that.
Yeah.
And the added benefit is that other forces who might be looking at Metros would underestimate us. They would try something despite Metros being very much ready for it. So, yeah, you could benefit from that too.
It's a good case. Good case. Yeah. I will, as I've told the others, I suppose visit the last tribe and then consider all that I have heard. Seems that each has something to offer, and to be honest with you, I could see merit in all of them so far.
Well, I can assure you that it will be difficult to get the aid of multiple of the tribes.
Until an apocalypse threatens place. First. Until I can reveal to you that we are all in this together, and that only by working together can we truly solve these issues.
Yes, grand words, but in the end, it really matters what you can offer in the material sense, you see.
I'm sure you're okay with taking whatever I can offer, as long as it's what you're interested in.
Sure.
Those things don't seem to be the same thing. Okay, all right. Well, let's go visit these elves. Shipbuilding elves. That does sound interesting.
Well, shipbuilding elves.
Yeah, according to these guys.
Yeah.
Now, what is interesting is that these elves live seemingly in the center of the island, right?
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
where there isn't water.
Well, it's probably reverse.
Yeah, Sheep said that you can navigate. You can use a boat to traverse the island. So
You can use a boat to traverse the outside of the island.
Oh, okay.
so the one tribe that doesn't have access to the water is the shipbuilding tribe.
The airships. We call them
Ooh.
tanks. They're land ships.
What they do have is most of the trees of the island.
Ah,
Let's go visit.
right.
Monopoly.
Mhm.
What they do have.
Hey, I need trees. Who knew Demos would go from needing money to adamantine to trees?
You know,
Strange world
it's
we live in.
really not that different. You know,
Yeah.
Mhm.
it's like where do I find a bar of
Stuff.
adamant that I can actually use?
Hey, these are
Except-
basically all mercenaries, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
They can be hired to do a thing. They'll do that thing and then move on. So
I
what
feel like
orders?
it could be a beneficial tool also if there's something we want to, like, an effort we want to build, but not necessarily want to focus on ourselves. It could be interesting to like hire contractors, sort of.
Hmm. Yeah,
I
I mean,
hope
Demos
so.
would like to have them be more contained or controlled by him, but on the other hand, I mean, fair enough. They seem to live in an existence that they kind of enjoy, and he's not. Doesn't really.
So I
That's
love
fine,
how open he was. Just like, we heard what you said to the other. We were like, oh, all right, spying is. It's like, no, yeah, okay.
What to do?
Yeah, it's like,
Yeah,
no,
let's
yeah, like some fucking how, either scrying or just having people there, I suppose. Just
Probably
fucking.
all have speak with plants or like some sort of way to, like Hexia had the like flowers as
Yeah.
spies. Probably got something, some similar bullshit.
It could very well be.
Let's,
No, I mean, it's incredible.
let's go talk to the elves. See, finish off the circle, and then we can sort of see who and how and why.
Who and how and why?
I suppose we'll meet up with the others on the way there.
I'll be close.
Yeah.
We fly in dragons, so it's pretty easy to find each other.
All right, yeah, you can find each other easily enough in the air, as it turns out. Dragons are not exactly subtle.
Hey, can I have a quick conversation with team investigator, real quick
mean-
before we go?
Sure.
I wasn't gonna talk, and then I've changed my mind. Which I guess maybe Artemisia and the rest of them can see, like, while we're waiting for signs of Xerxia and Argon, like, clear, internal debate. And then he says, oh, before we go, I suppose I would like to share some concerns with you.
Okay.
I'm worried, Artemisia. I'm worried about. We don't know exactly what's coming, but this is far from over. Other forces are taking advantage of the power vacuum left behind by the Titans, by, well, all of them except for Thylia, I suppose. We saw what happened on that time island, and we saw that Mitros will not survive. But we didn't see any signs of people. I want to be ready to evacuate. That doesn't have to mean they all died. I'm worried that the way we're going, we're not going to be doing what we need to do before that happens. And I don't know how to change that.
I do not think we can plan for anything when we do not know what that thing is. Quite simply.
Well, if the land is destroyed, then the things to rely on are the sea and the sky. We need ships. We need the airship that
Aegis is currently doing his research on. We need more dragons, and more importantly, we need that fleet to be safe when it flees the mainland with as many people on it as it could carry. Those are things that we can start working on. But Deimos' heart is always in the right place, but I fear he refuses to accept the possibility that we may not be able to defend Mitros a second time from being destroyed. He thinks that we averted what we saw on the Time Island, but we saw other things long away, like long after the threat of the Titans and before that vision. It's still to come. And I'll be right there with them at the day we fight to stall whatever it is, but I won't be fighting to save the city. I'll be fighting to buy time for people to run away. Buildings can be rebuilt. A place is just a place. They need to be healthy, safe in the meantime, and we need to be building the biggest navy this land has ever seen. There are other places to go. It could be the first Thylians in 500 years to step foot on other lands. But we need to be ready for that.
I do agree with you with the possibility. But at the same time, we are preparing for a calamity that could well happen in hundreds of years' time when we do have the fleet already built. Have preparations. I think you have placed your timeline far too short for what you wish to achieve. Realistic expectations. See what we can do, what we can prepare now in a reasonable time, and expand the time frame to encompass ships that float. That technically is not a technology that exists for our people at the moment.
And yet it does in the outside world. That must mean that for 500 years, while we played sacrifice to the Titans just to continue to survive another day, they've been developing.
Quite possibly. But that does not mean that we can develop what they have managed in 500 years overnight.
No, I don't suggest it, but the Furies confirmed what I already feared and what Lutheria taunted us about moments before death. That killing Death was not going to happen. And if she comes back, she's not going to want revenge on our descendants. She's going to want revenge on us. Which means the threat will happen within our lifetimes. I don't see her not being that petty. It may take her a year, 10 years, 25. I don't know how long it would take, but she definitely learned to take us seriously, if nothing else. And we had to give everything we could to stop them before the end of the Oath of Peace when they didn't take us seriously. Just imagine what a focused Lutheria, like I can't even imagine. I have no idea what it is she would even attempt to do, and that terrifies me. But I know she's wanting to do something, and she has the resources to hurt a lot of people in horrific ways.
Then Darius, my friend, how do you want me to help? How can I help quell your concerns?
The best thing you can do in a fight is to avoid it altogether. If you can't avoid it, then you deflect it somehow. And only when you can't do that do you defend it. And when you're as strong as us, you have to defend because you're defending other people. I want a way for when this land is being decimated for the people to flee, which means by sea or sky. Which means we need to focus on making the seas and skies safe and building a navy.
Do we know that
And
the land will fail? We know Mitros will fall, but we do not know that the land will fall. It is Thylia, after
it was all black and I mean,
we only saw Mitros. We did not see the rest of Thylia. Cool. It only showed Mitros.
I may be misremembering, but I thought the land around it was like blackened and awful, just general apocalypse vibes.
The perspective was from Mitros.
Okay.
So you saw some of the surrounding, but definitely as if you were looking at the harbor of Mitros, basically.
Gotcha.
It could just be.
Well, but that's also what all of the visions were, right? They were only looking at Mitros.
Yeah, they were all from the same perspective.
Right, which means it's not impossible that it could be even bigger. And I don't know. We know Darius. He thinks in larger potential.
Yeah. But Artemisia is being like devil advocate, trying to cool his concerns. So she'll say,
whether it's just for the city or, I mean, if it's just for the city, then it's a much easier scale. Trying to
indeed,
to make something for a city's population to flee. But
I agree.
Might be bigger.
I agree with your principles, Darius. I do. I do not know how to build a fleet. I do not know how to build magic flying machines that soar through the sky. But what I do know is that when a threat will present itself, I will have grown an organization that's focus is to defend the people of this land. Whether that is evacuating them from a calamity that cannot be fought, or it is fighting the calamity so people may flee, whether it be on fishing boats or flying machines. I cannot help make things, Darius.
I'm not asking you to. I'm just worried that we, as a collective, and especially the king of Mitros, are turning a blind eye to that possibility.
No. I believe that Cantimane's return will be a calamity in on itself. I do not think he has been appeased. I think that Lutherius...
I mean, I can believe it, but...
I refuse to. I believe that Lutheria's return, like you worry, will be calamitous as well. I prepare for a world that I do not wish will come to pass. Yet I prepare for it regardless. Even if I believe it to be unlikely. Hell, I believed it unlikely that a kraken lived in the waters that was so incredibly powerful that the Titans just locked it away. Couldn't do anything but lock it away. So I prepare for everything. Do not worry. I will keep it in mind, and I will help you press it upon our good king of Mitros. I'm with you in this, Darius. I worry for the world.
How do Dareth Axel and Eravendar look as they hear this discussion?
They probably have opinions, but unless you ask them specifically, they're probably not going to share them.
Definitely at least look in their direction, which would be, indicative.
Give me an insight check.
Sure. No, I'll just ask. What do you think of all of this? Am I thinking too much? I get lost sometimes in the what realities are what actually happened and what could have come to pass and what must not. It's confusing sometimes.
Perhaps to summarize their viewpoints. I'm not sure how I would play this out properly. Arvanda is of the strong belief that there's probably an answer in a book somewhere. Like you would be surprised at what you can learn in the things that have already been learned. New ways to approach problems, new tools that you might have not recognized yet. A lot of military strategies he read recently have been derived from the behavior of animals or from analyzing old battles. So that's interesting. And if you consider the magnitude of the ancient magic you encountered in the Kraken's lair, that suggests that there's so much more magical things you could potentially do that you haven't even thought of yet, that in the time scale it might take for this to really appear, you still have a lot of time to figure out some way to go about it. Derek Axel's opinion is that she's hesitant to actually share this because she's very opposed to the idea of running away.
Saying us running away. I just want to
running away in general. If there's something that threatens her home, the idea that the best choice is to run away is something she will accept if she has to, but it's not the choice she would take.
Yeah. I more see it as if it is something so horrific, it will probably be Darius and Artemisia being martyrs in the end. I can totally see that.
That's not a good outcome either, as far as she's concerned.
It's not. It's not a good outcome.
I guess what I'm saying is, no, we're gonna take it on. Basically, it's like I don't want to cause the like Avengers level thing of like you didn't think about this at all, and now buildings are coming around and people are dying everywhere.
Yeah,
like, just go.
Her point is basically, if you plan for the possibility of defeat, then you're expecting defeat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think Artemisia is on pretty much on the same side as Aravanda, is that I think once we know the threat, I think we can stop it. Once there is a threat that is identified, we can stop it. We will stop it because the alternative isn't acceptable. That's her opinion of it.
If you believe that, then we need to start working on how to counter a more serious Etheria, because that has been identified.
Oh yeah. I mean, we're already stronger than when we fought her last.
Yeah, but so long as, like I said the first time, I just didn't have enough time to work on it. So long as she wields the power of death, then that's what we need to work on, is finding a way to take that from her.
Become death.
Well, I mean, not for that purpose, but just making sure that she isn't. If that means we have to find a successor, then so be it, I guess.
Oh, I'll become a god of death if that's what it takes. But yeah.
And the way that it happened the first time, would be, I would venture to say, impossible. I can't think of a scenario in which she would wager that again.
No, I don't think it will be a wager. I think it will be done by force.
Yeah. Need to understand how that was it a box? No, a game. How that game enforces it.
We won't.
No. The mechanism by which it enforces it, the nature of divinity and passing off from one to another.
I think it was oaths, basically.
No, Balmitra tricked her. Using the power of a game, yeah, it was something to do. I can't remember exactly what it was. It tricked her into like putting their power into something.
I can basically help you out. She didn't use the power of the game, but the wording of the wager used. Because
Gotcha.
Belmitra wagered her life against the divine power of the Titans. And Belmitra did die. And the
Right.
Titans also lost their divine power. So it was a bit of a weird draw that in the end actually helped the fight out.
She like rules lawyered it
Basically, yeah.
to win. Yeah.
Yet another example of oaths. Oh, it's about the intent. Yeah. Right.
I mean, Belmitra was a silver dragon in a family of bronze dragons who are like the most rules lawyery of all the dragons.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
A silver dragon who are known to be like martyrs in their own right.
Yeah.
Is
But living
surrounded
in that
by rules
living in that household.
Yeah, it's like that is the perfect combination for what Belmitra did. Yeah.
Yeah. You got to give the writers credit on this one.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not going to happen again. No way. So, I don't. Yeah.
We'll see. We'll figure it out. You and me, we'll figure it out. What we do. We kill Titans, and we try not to go insane. That's what we do.
Mm.
And raise
Yeah, he doesn't
dragons.
look completely satisfied with this discussion, but appreciates the intent.
Mm-hmm.
I should just want to look away from the other dragons. Oh God, careful.
The other bronze dragons were like backseat gaming, and she just couldn't take it.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah.
Oh
Like,
God.
I'm gonna become a god. I'm so fucking sick of you guys.
I'm ascending. You guys are staying here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sick
Right.
of
Maybe
this
at this
shit.
point, that's when we like see.
Zoom out.
No, we see Hexia and Oregon. Like we need to go. Convenient timing.
Yeah. All right. The last of the tribes in the center of the island. Yeah, if you hadn't spotted it earlier, it would have probably still been quite difficult to actually spot that there is some sort of civilization, some sort of village-like structure in the center of the island, as it's at first glance really just looks like a very densely packed forest. What gives it away, however, is the various treehouse-like hallways reaching between the trees, like bridges. The style, of course, is very different from the other tribes, as there's no real coastline to build around, but they've built around the forest itself instead. There's thick and hefty trees supporting various structures. And as you sort of maybe circle downwards to find a landing spot, you don't see anyone.
Well, Primus figures they're probably just hiding, so let's land somewhere visible.
It's difficult to find a spot between the trees, but with some difficulty you can eventually touch down on the forest floor, which the floor of the forest seems untouched. There's no roads, no constructions or anything. It's just now at this point up above the various bridges between the trees. And as you land, perhaps, doing your introduction, eventually you do see activity. Except that activity is basically warning shots. You don't immediately see where they come from, although you can give me a perception check. But it's a very clear message for you to just go away.
Come on. Primus calls up, "Hello!
Oh.
I'm here looking for shipbuilders."
So yeah, both Artemisia and Eravant now looking around can spot a variety of shapes, actually. They were very hard to spot because they, as the other inhabitants of this island, are very tan, which gives them a similar coloration to the trees, actually. That, in addition to the dark green shapes of their tattoos on their bodies, almost makes them blend into the bark perfectly. You do get a response at the calling out, as a voice from somewhere simply states, "The next shots will not be a warning. You have nothing to give us, and whatever you want from us, you will not receive."
Well, that's fair. They certainly don't
Uh,
seem like they want to.
I'm going to cast Wall of Force around us. Hey, all we wish is to have a discussion. This here will not let you fire upon us, but so too it will not let us be a danger to you. All we can do here is exchange words.
There's never a rustle in the trees.
Go ahead. I'm going to throw something at the Wall of Force so it plinks off and drops back inside us, like inside the sphere.
Yeah. There is like one single exploratory arrow hitting the force barrier. Before you hear a voice call out, "Then speak. What possibly could mainlanders have to offer us in return for our skills? We know your kind. You build these behemoths that you call ships that cut the seas with their bulky bodies. You destroy forests and search for materials for... Your skills are lacking, and we have no interest in whatever it is you produce."
If our skills are lacking, then it must be because we have not learnt to do it differently. If you could build ships and spare the forest, that is something I would be very interested in.
Our secrets are many. We live here in the center of the island, yet our ships are most numerous. You've not seen any, and yet they exist. How could this be? It is because we have skills. Skills that we will not sell for coin.
Then what could someone offer you? You still yet raid merchants, do you know?
There are things that the forest does not provide, but people do.
Those things could be provided for you without the need to slaughter merchants.
We rarely kill. Your prejudice is showing, mainlander.
Which I've only heard the tales from the people you've attacked, not from you yourselves.
A span of silence.
So please, what could I do? King of Mitros, as Dragonlord and as prophesied hero, to convince you to share some of what you know.
We've heard your tales, your accomplishments. We believe most to be true, if exaggerated. We believe that you fight against threats that could have been threats to us, and for that you deserve respect, as you do for your skills in combat. You would, I suppose, be acceptable allies for that alone. The strong require the strong to remain the strong. Yet what you do on the mainland is unacceptable. You raid the forests and give nothing in return. You chase away their inhabitants and give nothing in return other than misery. You're looking to rebuild the Mitrosian navy, are you not? I wonder what the casualties will be for that project to succeed.
The reason I'm here is because the casualties I've been informed about would be too high. I don't know in the past if any ruler of Mitros has come here seeking out you on this lonely island. But I am, because I'm trying to find a way to make this work. The city needs to be defended, and for that it needs a navy. I come here either to learn from the tribes how they manage, and I was told that you were the greatest shipbuilders amongst them. Thus I'm here. Talk to you. Because building ships without damaging the forest would be...
Revolutionary.
Yes.
Could help you. Perhaps. But in return, we will ask for things that you will not be willing to give. If to reconstruct your ships, as well as whatever uses you might have for lumber, you agree to have nobody but us produce that lumber for you, we could work something out. It will mean that your merchants, your... What is the word? That's me.
Flyers?
Your populace will complain that they will not have firewood, they will not have wood for their windows, nor their carts, nor anything. But that little wood you will get will be given from Phylea freely. Its inhabitants will perhaps not thank you for the lack of destruction you wreak, but at least consider it an act of respect to be considered in the future.
And how much could you deliver? Threats are real, and ships are already needed.
And those threats, would you rather them be opposed by ships only, or by fewer ships and the inhabitants of the lands that you have not chased away?
You promise a lot. But
I promise only the obvious. If you do not destroy someone's home, they might be willing to work with you.
yes. So how do you produce wood if you do not chop down a tree?
That is a secret that will remain as such. We let our products speak for us.
Can I see one?
No. Cooperation requires trust. You come here unwanted. If you extend your trust to us, then perhaps we might change our opinion about outsiders.
You look to the
That's-
others and say, there isn't enough. So far I have commanded that no, it's the other character. So far I have commanded that no wood should be taken from a place where anyone lives,
Hmm.
and we have a massive shortage. So this wouldn't alleviate the shortage, but maybe there is a better way. It would be very difficult to convince my people that we should rely entirely on outsiders for something that is so crucial for our safety and survival.
hmm.
I doubt that you would do so, relying on us to deliver something to you that is so entirely crucial.
You present an extremely attractive option as far as being able to have one's cake and eat it too. However, trust does have to go both ways. Keeping your methods a secret is something you can definitely understand, but to be able to make this an example, we have to at least see what it is that we're looking at acquiring before changing the mainland's entire way of doing things.
We have no interest in providing samples for you to peruse. You're not merchants who have come to a trading town to buy their wares. We know our worth. We can deliver all the wood you need for your ships, at least for enough ships to defend yourselves, in addition to our own people, who, I should mention, are just as competent, if not more so, than any of the other tribes on this island. Besides, we do not ask for material wealth, nor will your people be upset about you hiring pirates. We are the least obvious, the most subtle. All of our attacks are always blamed on the tribe of the shark, anyways. You would have an easier time justifying our aid to your people than any other of the tribes on this island, I would think.
Is your way of doing what you do unique? Or are there people, for example, in the Great Wild Wood, that might do the same thing?
They might know similar secrets. However, it is an ancient technique passed down to us from our ancestors who were not mainlanders. In fact, they distanced themselves from the mainland when the Dragonlords came. Our method, I will not say, is entirely unique to us, yet we are the only ones who can combine it with the production of ships. You will find that we need much less wood than you would expect to build even a frigate of the size you people are used to.
All
What do
this
you
is
mean,
good
you
stuff.
people?
So now let's just say, all right, that all sounds good. Now, I don't mean any offense, but I have dealt with, I'm sure you might know, deceptive cults and the like before. There is no price in blood or some sort of demonic contract, or, this all seems almost too good to be true.
You come to us and are surprised at the secrets we possess and now expect that there's some demonic contract involved? I would be amused if I wasn't so offended. You can rest assured that we do not sacrifice children to grow wood.
Good to hear. Yeah. Okay, that's a very good, good, good offer. Really, I mean, they want basically nothing in return, except for, well, I guess they want to be unique suppliers, right?
On exclusivity.
But if they can deliver a navy for that, then people having to build with stone, they're going to have to deal with that. That's just how that's
Yeah.
gonna
If the price for saving the city and saving the forests is finding a new way to make a cart, like we can figure it out.
Yeah, like it's a problem. To be fair, not having a cart is annoying.
Hmm.
Mithril is supposed to be very light, right?
Mithril carts,
Mhm.
mithril windows.
Yeah.
And ideally this would work. And if what they deliver is like terribly trash, and it just like they give us a
Mhm.
canoe after a year, then like then we have the proof, right? That they're things is garbage. And hopefully then there'll be time to rectify.
Perhaps
really
at this
is.
moment, of course, try to present the option in like a roleplay fashion. But to summarize, perhaps what each tribe could offer you, and as you've, I think, figured out, you can basically choose one of them. It's unlikely that you can come up with a solution that gets more tribes on your side. The tribe of the shark is generalist. They've got a lot of people, a lot of good sailors, probably among the best navigators. And they do have the ships that are most closest to what Mitros is used to, basically. The tribe of the whale, the dwarfs, bring with them knowledge of material working that you wouldn't easily find elsewhere. They are very adept at reusing things, as it turns out. That doesn't mean they can smelt down adamantine weapons to make new bars with it. But they can get very close. So if you have enough stuff and you want a adamantine thing that is somewhat related, they can maybe make that work. So if you've got like a trunk full of adamantine weapons and you want a different one, they can probably make that work. That is sort of recycling they can do, as well as a bit of a steampunky approach to ship making, really. The tribe of the eel relies on speed and being informed. They are great messengers. Not as good as the sirens, of course, as they are. They rely on traveling over water, which is slower. But if flight isn't an option, if they need to get somewhere, they can get there. And they are not lying when they are saying that if you want to take down an opponent ship, another ship, you can either, do broadside to broadside, or you can have these guys like sneak on board at night and just take the ship. They are very good at that. They are speed, stealth, and being informed. And the tribe of the Dolphin, the elves, they do have a unique way of building their boats. They don't just build the boats differently, they build them in such a way that they can be carried. They've got some skills in ship making that are unique to them. Making portable boats isn't maybe a skill that is required for Mitros here, but their benefit would basically be that you completely eliminate the possibility of pissing off natives that might like their forests. Rebuilding a navy is a great task, and there's going to be friction there, especially if there are forces that want to make that friction harder for their own purposes. These guys would eliminate that completely.
Which is a great freaking thing. I mean, guys, for me, it's either the gnomes, because I could ask them to, bring me some of the other people's ships potentially. And just because being informed is good. But I'm really leaning to the elves, man. The not having to screw up people's forests is like huge, because there's a lot of natural peoples that we will have to befriend in the future, I find.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with
Yeah.
that.
Besides, it gives us a fleet that has our people on the boats. While all the other options would be that we rely on a fleet that is continuously like a mercenary pirate fleet. The elves produce the boats, and then we put our people on those boats. And then we sail them around with people who are loyal to Mitros over this island.
Yeah.
Our shipwrights and such might even be able to learn something by looking at these ships, even if they can't replicate them. And more so, the people I have currently trying to build ships could be put to do something else.
Yeah. It also makes our relationship with the Oldwood forest really good if we can go back to them being like, hey, we just stopped all of Mitros from taking any wood from any forest on the mainland ever.
I mean,
You're good.
At least as far as I can.
Yeah, I was gonna say ever is a
Yeah,
is a
we
big,
made it an illegal practice.
people in
Right.
various villages and such will do what they do, but
Yeah, but then they'll be punished for it.
there's no government-based logging, then I think
Yeah.
that's pretty much
Yeah, their services would basically be for the purpose of rebuilding the navy.
Yeah.
And not like forever ever.
Right, but they also
Eventually,
they ask that we don't do it. So it's a problem in that we don't have materials for other stuff. So we need to come up with a solution for that.
yeah, but basically they're asking you, hey, don't cut down forest for your ships, let us do it.
Mhm.
And they would go so far as to say that while they are helping you, they don't want to see anyone cutting down trees. But it's not a permanent arrangement.
They don't mind if we make a wagon wheel later on. Not that I could see how they would stop us at that point, but that's probably also part of the understanding. Yeah.
That makes that a
I-
less attractive option, to be honest. But
Really?
uh,
Alright.
well, I mean, we still need.
We get that
Yeah.
9 out of 10 Navy, as it was.
Mhm. Yeah,
That-
for me, the eel's out because we could just take it, right? We can just come back. I'm sure whichever one we ally with won't care if we like fuck over another one of the tribes here. So we always just take their stuff ourselves.
I think
The elf one, I really like the idea of it, but if it's just like a permanent, like if it's a temporary thing and we still need to figure out a solution for other stuff anyway, like I don't know.
the no, what it is that the what's temporary here is the don't cut down any trees ever.
Mm.
Basically, we work together, but while we're working together, they don't want us to like go chopping down trees because that offends them.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Once
Gotcha.
once we break up, once we have our 9 out of 10 fleet, they will go home and they don't care anymore.
Fair.
Well, they probably still care, but like our obligation is done.
Okay.
Which I mean, maybe in the future we could make another deal, right? But if I get the Mitrosian fleet back up to where it was,
Yeah,
man,
that's priority
like
one.
a huge victory.
Mhm.
It's
Okay,
better than
then
what
yeah,
I hoped for coming here.
I'm on
so.
Team Elf. Yeah, it really is better than anything you could have asked for at that point.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, the others are very cool though. What we really need is for them to just get over get over
yeah, all of
themselves.
them.
They're all
them.
very different. They don't have to
I want-
interact
I want
together.
steam-
Steampunk elf boats
I
with
want the
Yeah.
assassins on them.
I want the dwarves to be making stuff so that we could like have like a dwarf mithril mine made airship. That would be so fucking cool. But
Yeah.
The-
Sometimes you gotta pick, If
yeah,
you can find
exactly.
ways to-
Having a whole fleet is more important.
It's not the
Well-
dwarves will say, "Oh, you work with the elves, we hate you now."
Yeah, whatever. I think also just it is true what they'll say, right? Like if there is a big calamity, like having like dryads and such, like at least not be mad at us. That seems like a good thing.
Yeah. And if the boats can be carried, I don't even know what that means. Carrying a frigate, I'm sure that's useful at some point.
Now,
Yeah.
the thing of these elves is that they build boats in such a lightweight way that they basically disassemble them, carry them to the coast, assemble them, and go about their business.
Alright.
Like they basically practice shipbuilding every single day.
That's
But would they
Sure.
work as battleships then? Like, are they sturdy enough for that?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they've got the advantage of. I guess you're not being
Magic.
presented any examples.
It does.
But
It does present a very interesting scenario where you dock somewhere, the crew takes the boat apart and brings it inland, preventing it from being destroyed
Yeah.
at the dock. Right?
I mean, didn't like the Vikings do that in northern France? They broke like they
Yeah,
carried
I
their
don't think they
boats.
did that. It was or I don't
I don't know
remember.
if they
I remember
broke them
somewhere
down, but
there
they
was a
moved.
culture where all of the boats were small, just for the purpose of being able to carry them, and then you would go to the river and
go a long way in there and then carry it and go back to the ocean, or like something
The
along
Inuit,
those lines.
maybe, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a thing.
Mhm.
Yeah, they can definitely build things that basically no other shipbuilder could. Because they don't have the problem of, it's so difficult to bend these planks into a boat shape. They just
Oh.
bend the wood into
Yeah,
boat shape,
Druid.
Yeah.
basically.
Druid boat makers.
Yeah, I mean, basically, right now, here's the thing. I came here looking for a name. I found mercenaries who are like monster hunters. I found gnomes who promise messengers and spies. I've found dwarves who want to build crazy steampunk stuff. And I found people who promised me a navy. I'm
Yeah.
going to solve the problem I came here for.
Mhm.
And then if the world is starting, we'll come back here probably and be like, hey, guys, how about we all team up now and solve this? Maybe even when the navy is built, I can come back here and be like, so dwarves, I got my wooden navy, but how about you build some steampunk stuff out of Mithril? 10 years, a long time. There's even time after that.
Not for dwarves.
It's like, I got problems, but let's make the navy not be one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like we're going with the elves. That seems to be the.
Also, I mean, Sheep said it like winged messengers are better.
I don't
Yeah,
have any,
like-
but
Yeah,
Well-
these guys would basically be for bringing messages like into towns undetected, which
Right.
is a bit
Yeah,
of a
winged
different
messengers
use
are not great
case.
for that.
I mean, if we need to spy on stuff and get messages to people, like that's what I'm for. Like whatever.
yeah, but I still want them.
I want all of them. They all.
They were well informed about what
Mhm.
happened. I would love them to go to tell us what happens in Eresia.
Mhm.
But no, I have no idea what's
The fucking
happening.
little canoes.
Okay,
Me.
illusions and whatnot. Yeah,
I think-
I say we take the Elven deal for now, and then yeah.
What do you think, Halldamir? We haven't heard.
I was just gonna say, Eresia's like walls are literally made to like defend against Mitros's fleet. Like I think it extends into what port they have for like their markets, stuff like that. Like,
I'm sure
think-
those gnomes could find a way to take a look around.
I think a really long time ago, I think it was like, but like what? Eresia's not even a threat. I don't get why it's like
No, but I don't know what's
constantly
going
looking
on.
at.
They've been so quiet.
Yeah.
I mean, why do they need to not be quiet? The threat was to Mitros.
What are they up to?
I mean, no, but like seriously, the threat was to Mitros. Why would Eresia get involved with their enemies? Like, their enemy has an issue. Why would they get involved?
I don't think we have to be enemies,
No, I mean that's the thing. They're a neutral party.
We could be friends. They just
But they've not gotten involved because why would they need to? If you were like as the king of Mitros, something was happening in Eresia, and they didn't come and ask for help, why would you give a fuck? You wouldn't.
It would be a chance to maybe extend the olive branch.
yeah. No, but they're notoriously self-absorbed. They're-
Well, I mean, their god is literally Narcissus, so yeah.
just we're moving into a new time, right? And I don't want to
Mhm.
suddenly have an invasion from them just show up for the hell of it.
Yeah, it might be good to check in with them at one point. See
If there's
what's going
forces
on.
working behind the scenes, that's something they would like to do. But
I
hey,
mean,
one problem at a time. Let's get these elves.
Yeah, that's fine. Artemisia can't go to Eresia unless there's something crucial. She just can't go. She's exiled.
No one's. Who's gonna stop you now?
I mean, you're a Dragonlord.
Yeah.
I mean, while that's true,
In that capacity, surely you're no longer counted as a citizen of Eresia.
no, but I'm still exiled
Beyond
from
that.
the city.
Mhm.
So unless it's something.
Yeah, you
pressing,
were
like-
waiting this whole time to be able to just show up, super powerful, riding a silver dragon, and being like, "Fuck you, bitches!" And you kind of have everything you need to do that now.
Yeah, the only thing is, as much as I can roll up there, They do have an army, and they do have a dragon. Because Narcissus is probably a dragon.
And
Yeah, I mean, probably still sitting on his lazy ass.
whatever
And
else
you have
they
us.
might have,
Yeah.
that we don't know about. Anyway, neither here nor there.
Yeah.
There's probably a whole bunch of talk more with these elves, but I
Mhm.
mean, the short and long of it is they, that's
Yeah. Understood. The effect will basically be that they agree to visit Mitchell's with enough people they need to do what they said.
Mhm. Yeah, we will show them all hospitality and really try not to offend them. That seems to be the. Also, just to whatever might be able to, maybe they don't want to tell us about how they shape wood, but if there's anything else that they might know, they seem smart on this point.
Seems like maybe that's a discussion for when maybe relationships are a little bit better.
Yeah, for now, let's get them.
Yeah.
And then say thank you, and then say this was a lucrative visit to this island.
Mhm.
You'd have more of an effect.
How many people are coming? Are we talking like a couple, or like the tribe is moving?
It's surprisingly few. It's going to be like 24, perhaps.
Seems their limit is not ships but people. Now we have people, just no ships, so let's get together.
There you go.
Why not make it a 10 maybe instead of a 9? Stay here.
Well, and that's the thing.
One
It's
arcane cannon on every ship.
Yeah. Yep. I hope Vulcan's enjoying his vacation because.
It's like, oh look,
See.
look there, the Kraken, fire!
Yeah.
No. No, but one can dream.
Kind of curious about seeing if we can fix that prison and maybe if we can lure it back.
Don't know if luring is the thing. The amount of beating it to half death and putting it in there.
I've taken enough time right now, I think, with this trip. Dimas is going to be handling the ramifications of this and that for the foreseeable future. I mean, that's going to probably take like a long while. Also, we'll send information to the Wildwood that, the people who are concerned, that they need no longer be concerned. We found a way that everyone can be happy.
I can deliver that message. I need to get some. I need to ask them for something.
Sure. It's good.
And maybe gone for a few days.
All right. Looking at the time, I think we'll end here.
And the one thing that I kind of wanted to get out of this session was to like make the inquiry of Pythor about the dragon Aristonar. That was like the one thing I wanted to do this session.
Sure, we could do that stuff.
I figured like I can
I also
talk
have a
to
quick
Echo.
question for the Wildwood people after that.
It seems like a quick question that we can do, and then I can speak to Echo in like downtime.
See, can I find the tokens? There's one. You know what? We've done this entire session without tokens and pictures. Actually, that's not true. The first one had some. We can do that too. Artemisa can find the little orchard where Pythor and Ophelia have made their secret lair, so to speak, easily enough. He will really scoff at the mention of the name. It is obvious that Pythor or Respitrion, whatever name you choose to use, he doesn't really care, does not have a good opinion about this dragon. He will basically tell you that he is technically part of their family, but basically the second their dedication was tested, Respitrion and his rider just bailed. They disappeared. Nobody's really sure what happened, but they have decided without a doubt that there was no foul play at play. It was just them running away and escaping their responsibilities, which was eventually, of course, proven true because apparently Pythor, of course, knew that Nasus in Eresia was said dragon, who was apparently just having a good time.
It's been like weeks. Can you remind me what Echo's request was to find out about Arsenal, or just?
She didn't specify anything. She just wanted to know just in general.
Okay.
She has an interest in him, but didn't really specify what interest.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think that's enough information. We know he was. Well, I guess he is. Is he like family then to Python?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, he's the one. He's a sibling that didn't. That just fucked off.
Yeah, a sibling of the five, and
But
abandoned when things got difficult.
didn't Darius earlier remember that the rider left before anything
Yeah.
happened?
No, they left together.
They both left.
Yeah, they both
Oh,
left.
okay.
It was
So the
with-
riders probably
So they
just died. Probably.
They just left and didn't return when shit hit the fan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
They were in the Dragonlords for the glory,
Mhm.
not for the cause. Presumably.
That's fine. That's enough for me to go back to Echo with. I presume we can do a quick chat in like downtime about that shoot. So
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And what question did you have, Seraph?
So first I would go to the Old Wood Druids and basically just tell them what happened. And, it's not like a permanent forever solution, but at least for a while and for the most immediate need of, trees and whatnot, we've come up with a solution that doesn't touch the forest at all. So, they might be happy to hear that. And I would ask, I've already returned it. I would like to borrow the Staff of Fire again. Because I am going to go back to Typhon Island. I have a promise to keep.
All right, they'll let you do that. Regarding the elves, they will admit that they didn't know that the tribe of the Dolphin existed.
Mm-hmm.
But they're quite pleased about the decision to include them. If they can do what they promised to do, and that remains to be seen, that would be a skill indeed.
Yeah.
Like,
and I'll tell the Old Wood Druids, like, that's the plan. They are keeping their secrets, and that's that's fair. And they have reasons not to trust us. But if you reach out to them, maybe they'd be more willing to help out in ways that benefit them. Benefit the forests. Something to think about.
they'll think about it.
Cool.
Of course, the Druids of the Old Wood are not really one faction, but an amalgamation of the various Druidic faiths.
Yeah.
So maybe one of them will try to contact, but
yeah,
that'll take time.
Definitely. Yeah, my downtime will be to go to Typhon.
Okay. Anything else to resolve then? Before we end it for this week, and I suppose we play in 2 weeks again.
I'm moving on the 30th, so I cannot, unfortunately.
Moving on the 30th.
Yeah. I always forget, was it the 2nd and 4th or the 1st and 3rd that we were talking about doing?
That's a good question. I think it was the 2nd and 4th that worked better for you, Ari, right?
So yeah. Yes.
Oh, we have 5 Saturdays this month. That's what's going
Yeah.
on here.
What happens
So
on the 5th
it would have been
Saturday?
better to play on the 9th and the 23rd for you this week?
Yeah.
This month? I suppose
But
we could play on the 23rd if we have Seraph and it is convenient for you, Ari. Although you did say
yeah,
you probably made plans then, didn't you?
I like it's not decided yet. I like basically the next couple of weeks. I might be going away for a bit, but it's not like a definite. So I just like don't listen. Like just plan around me. I'll figure it out, But I don't really know yet.
Yeah, of course. I would then
I could do
tentatively.
the 23rd.
Okay, I would then tentatively say we play next week, although I will give you confirmation on the 23rd. On the 20th, on the Wednesday.
I was gonna say, I think I need a bit more.
And by give
Sounds
you
good.
confirmation, I mean I will forget and someone will ask me.
What we need is like a bot that's just
This
like,
reminds
we
sheep.
can just remind sheep with.
Check your messages.
Yeah.
I also think I forgot to give you an XP last session.
Yeah, I believe so, but I don't think we. I think I didn't ask because we're so
The
far
Chimera.
away, and it was a chimera that we killed.
Yeah, for this session it's easy though because you get 3,000 each.
Bad. But yeah, I don't think he
3,000.
gave us any lost.
3,000, and then what was it for last week? Nothing.
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I'll have to look that up.
Okay, cool. I'll just put 3,000 for now.
Yeah, I mean,
Takes us 127,700.
yeah. How much we got?
That was a very talky session, but it was a good one. That's fun.
It was not what I expected to find.
No, they're much more sophisticated than the rumors would have suggested.
All right. Yeah, I enjoyed the talking session. Maybe we'll have more action next time. Who knows? Because I don't know what you want to do.
Probably answer that so you have time to prep. Well, I'm going to go stunt on hell again, but I don't know if you want to resolve that in session or just privately.
It depends because I will tell you there is opposition. There is obstacles that are significant enough to not just hand wave.
I mean, yeah, this is Cerberus, but I have shenanigans ready. And I mean, Darius is at least not asking for help, so he's just gone for a couple of days. So at least showing some confidence. After that, though, as a group, what do we want to do?
I'm sure time will pass at that point. I feel like Deimos has done quite a lot recently, and might just need
Yeah.
a little time to get that handled. If things are fine for another year or so, I mean,
I feel like I want to
Maybe-
involve Aravanda on a research squad for the whole stealing the death domain project. That's a big thesis to be researching.
there might be something to what
There might be something for
area-
this whole echo thing.
Yeah, I feel like Arisia is being dangled in front of us.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go there at
Mm.
some point.
I reckon we'll get something from Echo once I talk to her about Narcissus.
Ariad has also spoken of the tribes of the Sirens.
Yeah, if
Might
we got a
be-
lead on
might
the city, the
be-
lost city, that'd be cool.
I mean, well, I was thinking just finding some, because flying messengers make the land smaller and make us
Yeah,
able to
I mean-
communicate.
For Ariad, it's not really like before today. I hadn't considered like going back into like. I mean, she has been a winged messenger, you know. But I hadn't considered actually going like exploring that. I like. 'Cause, yes, she wants to visit other Siren like tribes, but it's really all like the natives of the land that she's interested in. But yeah, I think after thinking about how useful winged messengers might be for us, that could definitely be a thing.
Project.
Yeah.
Any news from Aegis Sheep?
No, they're still looking.
Okay.
Yeah, but generally
Vandar,
learning
do you
what's
want to build an
happening around
airship?
seems to be good.
Hmm?
Generally learning what's happening around the world would be good.
Yeah.
I know very much what's happening in Mitros, but not really anywhere else.
Oh shit, the red dragon. I didn't tell you. I'll fill you in about the dragon that's acting weird and being dominated. That is what we should do.
You can find it.
It's in the Heartland, just sort of.
I think
You know.
that's downtime. Like we can find clues on that in downtime, and then
Right, but I'm saying for the next session, it would be when like confronting it or trying to find it and scout it or whatever.
I
But he's
think
just sort of like aimlessly sort of jerking around, going in the Heartland, and he doesn't have his horde. So
I feel like a lot might pivot on what we find in like our individual queries.
sure.
I just feel like we're gonna something's going to pop up that we're going to need to just take like
Mhm.
our full attention goes towards, whether it's soon or later.
Well, if nothing more immediate pops up, that would be what I like.
For sure.
What I would suggest as the placeholder,
Yeah.
unless one of us discovers something critical that needs addressing right now,
I agree.
is the red dragon.
Unless there is a world-threatening thing we need to care about, we'll go check out the red dragon that's left.
I mean, the
its horde.
suggestion of the first red having some influence for even outside of it, that's pretty worrying.
It's worrying, yeah.
So next week or the week after that, what do we?
Next week.
Either next week, I hope,
Or in
or
3 weeks.
or in 3 weeks.
We'll find out Wednesday.
Ideally both, honestly.
Ideally,
I
both.
agree.
Although maybe not on the 6th, because we want to do 2nd and 4th, ideally. We'll have to see. I mean, you guys do have to tell me if this ever-changing schedule is a big bother, because if it is, we can get it fixed better. But I generally aim for approximately every 2 weeks.
For sure.
People busy.
Yeah, I mean, we do the best we can, right?
Mhm.
23rd, 36. Anyway. Okay. Yeah, we're looking at the 2nd and 4th. Yeah, so it's because of the weird month, the 5 week. Yeah, the second Saturday of November would be the 13th.
Yeah, that's not. It's basically every other. So
Okay.
I went this week, so I'll go the 30th
Okay.
again.
Okay, so the 6th would be good for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then we'll just do that, and then we'll keep it as alternating, and that works
Cool.
for you, Eric.
The 6th and possibly the 23rd.
Yeah.
Cool.
Let me just post in chat the XP, which I already told you, just so I can see that I actually gave you XP for a change.
But you didn't do last sessions.
I didn't do last session. Last session. I think the session before I did.
Mhm.
Yeah, the session before you gave us the.
There you go. There's your reminder.
Yeah. You gave us what we had on our sheet after the big level
Yeah.
up. And then
Seraph, how am I going to interpret -1 session when I don't
You'll
know
see it
the
and be like, oh
context?
yeah, right. That thing we discussed.
What does that even mean?
You'll remember your reaction right there. You got this.
Maybe.
I believe in you. All right, hang
there you
on.
Okay.
There we go.
I think that's concise, right? With a love heart, so you don't look back at it later and think it's me being bitchy. That's how I differentiate my messages from it sort of sounds bitchy to I'm trying not to make this be bitchy, so I'm going to put a love heart. Alright, well, that's that.
Yeah, it's definitely you can